Hello, welcome to Jugs.
Oh, Jesus.
He's gone in hard.
Jesus.
I just thought if I just started it off, then it would just start.
Yeah, or else we'd never start.
Perfect.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Jugs.
Welcome
we've
back.
taken a week off because we've needed to rest because we didn't know we'd get so many jug heads.
We didn't know that you were all weird for Jugs.
There's been a lot of jug anxiety and jug loss.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of jug anxiety.
Jug anxiety.
Well, everything I've ever heard about Jugs is that you treat them mean, keep them keen. So I thought we just wouldn't do a week. Yeah, treat them mean, keep them keen. Wouldn't do a week, and then now they're frothy.
Is that like a thing that men say?
Never use that terminology again. Never.
Treat them mean and keep them keen. Is this what boys learn?
About miniatures, yes, I think.
And drinking vessels as well.
Yeah.
Some kind of vessel.
It's true.
Anyway,
It's
cheers.
true. Yeah, cheers to everyone.
Cheers.
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 Welcome back.
Oh my God, Rob!
You don't even need to say it, which I'll miss.
We're going to wait and see how long it took for us to know it. Wait, let me see it again.
What, my
Can you show the
child-
audience? Can you show the audience your
It's
mug?
hard to be a man in the hobby. Sent to me by another man in the hobby. Thank you.
Can we get
to all the
another one
lads.
now that says treat him mean and keep him keen?
That's a good start. Right, so listen, we've been gone for a few weeks, and that's been okay because actually,
it's not been okay at all.
well, for you it hasn't. For me and Peach, it's been a delight.
I got more work done.
I got nothing done.
Okay, so Louise was sick for a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and I think that's going to be one of the things that happens with a collaborative project like this.
Yeah.
Is Louise gets sick for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yes, often.
So we got lots to catch up on, which is fun.
I don't-
And like, that's not true.
My bed was great.
You still done stuff.
Yeah, I did stuff.
But we can just kind of catch up with everyone, see how everyone's doing, if that's cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Peach, tell me, you've done loads in the past few
I don't
weeks.
think I have, but thanks.
So last time on Jugs.
Yes, last time on Jugs.
Last time on Jugs.
Last time on Jugs.
I think the last thing we were going to do was go to ComicCon.
Yes.
Take it away, Peach.
Take it away. So I've had a wild ride. I've had a video that's gone in my circle viral.
Which one? Which
the Frostgrave one.
Oh my
Totally
God.
shocked by that.
So I want to shout out immediately, if you don't mind, I don't want to cut you off, but my friends Pete from Banger and all the rest of the lads in Northern Ireland have said specifically to tell you, since your video, 4 of them have started a little group in their club all playing Frostgrave.
You did it.
So there you go.
The amount of people I've seen that you've influenced has
Huge.
been
Is that? I just talked
You
about
did
something
it.
I really liked.
You
so
did it,
I guess
though.
that's what my bag is now. And the same for the Silver Bayonet. So that's like performing quite well. It's not as well as the Frostgrave one, and I think maybe the thumbnail helped with the Frostgrave one.
Well, so talk to me about, what was in the Frostgrave video, and then also what was the reception?
So I was more discussing my journey into the game.
Okay, nice.
Because I've got a little bit of stick from 2 comments, which is fine.
A little bit of stick?
Because I've not played it, but I'm excited about playing it and talking about my warbands I've created and
Okay.
stuff.
Why would you
I've
be
read the
mad at
rules.
someone?
I've read the rules. I get the general concept of the rules. I've just not physically played a game.
The video could be about getting excited to play it because
Well, that's
it's
it.
cool. So
That's
what was
it.
the stick? What was
And
it,
it was really minor, like how can you make a video based on a game that you've never played?
Yeah, that's what I think. When I see people be like, here are my thoughts about a trailer for a movie, I think, you haven't even seen the movie. You're an idiot. How can you?
Yeah, so my
Some
thumbnail
trailers
was I was playing the game. I thought, is it better than Warhammer? But I've made sure I put the question mark there because I'm asking the question.
Yeah. Smart.
And I'm just generally talking about this game. Is it cool?
Mm-hmm.
I've not played it before, so I'd already started getting into it by building up some warbands and stuff. Kind of put out a bit of a clickbaity title, but you know
I don't
what?
think it's clickbait.
At the end of the day, right? If someone wants to challenge it, all I've done is made more people aware of a game that's really cool.
Yeah.
If that's the worst that comes out of it, is more people are aware of Frostgrave because I was a bit clickbaity saying
It's
it's
just-
better than
it's just-
Warhammer.
I don't think it is clickbait.
I don't think it's
though.
clickbait.
Yeah, I think you're fine. I think if that's what you're considering clickbaiting, you're fine.
I think asking a question in a video is super okay. Yeah.
But, I just waffled on about my warbands. I got excited and added more after that and showed a warband I was building as well, put that at the 360. And I just generally enjoyed making the video. And then the reception was, I was generally shocked by it. And again,
Why?
because
you're cool.
Most of my videos up to this point, because my channel is growing, I've got somewhere between 10,000 to 20,000 as like views like over a course of a week.
Yeah.
And that one like hit 20 within the first like day or so. And I was like,
Hey.
and I even at the end of the video I was like, I imagine 5 people will probably watch this video, but I really enjoyed making it. So, and then
Reverse psychology at work.
Probably.
It worked.
But you've got
I
to
don't
get
think
to
you
the
can
end of the
reverse
video.
psychology the end of the video.
I'm going to watch it extra hard. I'm going to watch it
I'm
again.
gonna watch it again. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just really chuffed, and
happy
it's
for
kind of
you.
like encouraged me to do more non-workshop stuff because my big worry was like, as much as I like doing workshop hobby,
Mm-hmm.
I also like doing lots of other stuff. I always did that when I was an army painter. I did lots of like
Yeah.
historical stuff and fantasy and sci-fi that wasn't workshop. And the reception has been really nice with the Frostgrave and the Silver Bayonet. So I'm just going to do a lot more of that.
It's
content.
honestly inspiring because when we get round to me, I'm going to tell you how anxious and upset I am that I'm about to do my first like very not Warhammer video.
Yes, yeah. I'm very
So-
excited to see that. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, but let's keep going with what you've been up to because
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Well, no,
ComicCon.
so Frostgrave, it's gone well.
Yes.
Have you taken any next steps post the Frostgrave
Yes.
video?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So there's been lots. So you are good, Rob. You are good.
He
so
is good.
one of the good things about doing the Frostgrave video was I made sure I mentioned like drop in the comments any other good games that you want to recommend.
Okay.
Especially solo games and stuff like that. And there was a metric ton
Okay.
of really. So I've got a handful. There's still loads I need to get hold of. Things like Rangers of Shadow Deep, which is another Joseph McCulloch.
Not-
I've heard
not Rangers of the Bloodstone.
No,
Not that, no.
Not
What's Rangers of the
Mini
Bloodstone?
Wargaming Dave's own homemade, self-funded movie, Rangers of the Bloodstone, available on Amazon
Which
now.
I watched on Saturday night.
Oh, I need to watch
Again.
this.
Isn't it? No, Rangers, like comma.
It's Rangers, because Rangers is the universe.
Yeah, the
And then
Bloodstone.
it's, the Bloodstone.
I
You're
call it
absolutely
Rangers
right.
of the
Nice.
Bloodstone.
Thank you for knowing the deep lore. I appreciate that.
check
You're
out
welcome.
Alex 52 Miniatures little video he did called Monster Hunter, voiced by Guy from Midwinter.
yeah?
So that's a little fun video he made.
Okay.
But yeah, so there was like loads of games recommended, and I've got a handful of them. I've got Stargrave. I've got Rangers of Shadow Deep, which is actually quite cool because you basically build a ranger. You're a ranger and you have a handful of companions, very much like Frostgrave. But then there's a load of add-ons, and it is a game for solo play or cooperative play. It's not designed as like
A big war game.
a big war game,
Yeah.
or like you play an opponent. It's like you have a ranger and a companion, and I have a ranger and a companion, and we kind of like just do a mission together.
That's
and-
fun.
That's
and
fun.
defend the camp, save civilians. There's an Order of Knights in one of the add-ons called the is it Red Crow or the Red Eagle or something like that, and they're all orphans and they rescue children and fight children. And if there's any children on the battlefield, they can't leave until the child is
I thought
safe.
you were going to
Why
say
are the
they're
children?
like,
Whoa.
I know, I also
got a lot of questions.
Child
Yeah, me
soldiers,
too.
Rob. Child soldiers.
I thought you were going
What
to
are we
say.
playing, Peachy?
Rescuing civilians from villages.
I like the idea that they're orphans, but they go around killing parents to make more orphans. That's
That's worse.
That's dark.
That's where I thought it
That's
was
dark.
going. To like build their orphan army, they just have to kill all the parents.
Are you an orphan? No.
I've just
You are
realised
now.
I've got props.
Oh my God, I'm excited.
It's an orphan.
So, Rangers of Shadow Deep. Rangers of
Peachy,
Shadow
if you'd
Deep.
have pulled an orphan out of that bag, I'd be terrified.
A prop of an orphan.
Right, okay, another book.
So that's like the main rule, but that's like a
I've
load
heard a
of,
lot of people
resources.
talking about this.
Wait, so this is by the guy that you like, Joseph.
Yes, I've been told off I'm a fanboy. I need to stop.
Joseph
I don't
A.
care. He's cool.
Mick.
We have to get him on the channel.
Joseph A.
Cool.
Yeah, why?
How do we say
this
that
is an
name?
open invitation to Joseph. You should come on the show.
Yeah.
Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph, if you ever
Joseph.
been on
Or Josepher.
Joseph, please come on our shows.
Josepher.
How'd you pronounce the second name?
The artwork's cool.
McCulloch.
I should know that.
The artwork's great. He's got some amazing artists. There's a book that I
Beautiful.
got. What is it called now? Wizard's Eye. That's it. And it's just a collected load of art from a bunch of artists for the Frostgrave books he's done and stuff. So I've got more of his Frostgrave. This thing's called Ghost. I can never pronounce the
Ghost Archipelago.
Archipelago.
Thank you. I always struggle with that.
I only know that because Zelda.
So you can fight, and you don't have to fight in the frozen
Wait, so
city.
it's an archipelago full of ghosts?
I guess so,
The
maybe.
entire archipelago is a ghost?
Maybe. I don't know. I've not actually got around to read it. All I know is you can make some extra like pirates and like.
Show the camera a bit. There you go.
Sorry,
Ghost
yeah,
Archipelago.
wrong way. Ghost Archipelago.
I'm
Wait, so you've
reading
just been on a book buying absolute journey.
Don't know what this is.
Doomed.
Heard it's
Doomed.
good.
Doomed.
So Doomed is a Kit Basher's dream, apparently.
Can
So
I see that one?
Oh,
Dude.
interesting.
and then
Thank you.
Louise will like this. And in my Silver Bayonet
Oh.
video,
Yeah.
Egypt. In my Silver Bayonet video, I do a and this was really good. This I was really sorry. I'm going on for a
No,
while.
no,
Keep
no,
going.
no, no, no. I talk too much.
So
So yours is good.
No, you don't.
Yes,
I
do.
decided to do a bit of kibash. It's very turnip in a way. I got like a load of knights and a load of muskets and made like what I call the Templars. So it was like imagine the Templars still existed, but they've got muskets and they're fighting against evil, right? They're fighting
Neat.
against vampires and werewolves, but it's in the Napoleonic Wars. What do they look like? I kit bashed some stuff. I had some fun. And in the video, I go, oh, maybe they could be from the Holy Roman Empire. And I was like, oh, actually, when did the Holy Roman Empire end? Was that around the time that Henry VIII was around, or did it go on a bit longer? I can't remember.
Actually,
Loads of people in the comments were like, Peach, it's cool. It ended in 1806, which is like the Napoleonic Wars. This sounds awesome. You've literally just made some cool narrative. Keep with it. I was like,
There you go.
this is
Keep
amazing.
it going,
This
keep
is
it
why I
going.
love my community, because they're so cool. They come up with loads of facts and stuff. In this book, you can have Knights Templar.
Knights
Wayo.
Templar in Egypt.
In Egypt,
That's
you can have a
nice.
Knight Hospitaller
That's
in
very
Egypt, because
cool.
even during the Napoleonic Wars, they still had a chapter house in Malta until Napoleon kicked them out. And then they became paramedics.
Nice.
Knights of
there
St.
you
John. St. John's
There you
ambulance.
go.
I don't know if they actually became paramedics
I love that,
straight
though.
after.
So
but-
you've been on a bit of a like
Book binge.
So the past two videos where you've explored new games, you've now been on a I'm going to buy more games and find more stuff.
Heck
And I'm going to do
yeah.
videos on each of them.
Yeah.
I've got ideas for making my own game at some point. I've been talking to...
What would you- what-
well, I'm not going to go into it
wait.
too much because we've got a lot of things to do, but me...
Yeah,
Is it the thing
and-
I suggested the other day?
I'm not sure. What did you
I
suggest?
suggested teabags versus coffee beans.
No, that is a different game, and we are doing that. Me and you are doing that. Me and you are making that.
I don't know if I understand.
Just imagine.
this.
So in
Is it like the caffeine wars or something?
It could
The
be. That would be
caffeine
good.
wars.
If you
Why
want-
is this something?
If you wanted to go that
Caffeine
way, I was thinking more. What is it? The playing cards that you get in Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
Yeah.
But instead,
we're painting
there's
the roses
teapots.
red. We're painting the that one.
That one,
Yeah.
but like they're tea bags with spears and hats and funny
Yeah, but
heraldry.
like I don't get it. Like is
Tea bags with arms and legs and eyes.
But what?
But you
if
get
it was,
different regiments. You get the Yorkshire Regiment.
Yeah.
And you get the
Oh,
Tetley Regiment.
yeah.
Okay,
you
no,
getting it.
now I'm getting it. I thought it was going to be like
Green tea?
Can we get
Imagine.
like a robot called the Caffeinator? I think.
Yeah, they could
Like
fight
the
against
tur-
those.
I
And
think
then
that would be
when they're
funny.
getting a bit beaten by all the coffee, they ask for all the tea in China, and then China arrives with all
Yeah,
the tea.
that's a
And
great
then
idea.
the tea bags come across like we're gonna ground you. We're gonna ground you.
You can get some Rooibos tea. Rooibos.
That's a steep order. Whoa.
Nice.
I'll write
Nice.
the puns.
Yeah, I feel really mashed by this battle.
That's potatoes.
no,
shaking
do you
my
mash tea?
You mash tea.
If you leave it too long, it gets mashed and stewed.
Is this a thing?
Yeah. Well, no, you mash tea is good. When you've left it too long, then it's stewed.
What do you mean
So-
mash?
It's
You don't
just
actually
a
mash
process.
it. It's just.
It's not actual mashed potato, which is all you can picture. You're just picturing tea bags being mashed by a masher. Yeah.
Honestly,
okay.
actually, being a tea drinker, right? My mum used to use the term all the time. She's like, "I'm just going to leave the tea bag in the pot for it to mash."
To mash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that term with tea.
It's a
Yeah.
term, I promise.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, I've got excited about new games. Lots of
That's
new games.
great. That's good. That's good.
I-
So, have you felt
Emboldened.
emboldened by the response?
Yes, pretty
nice.
much. Yeah, it's opened new doors. I've worried that I have to keep ticking workshop boxes to keep the channel afloat.
Okay, nice.
It's proven that I don't have to do that, and I can just be excited about what I want to be
That's
excited about.
inspiration.
And it might also be workshop stuff sometimes.
I will still, because I love Warcry. I love Necromunda. I'm still doing Necromunda Peach on Gangs. That's still happening. No one's stopping that. That's
Yay.
still going to be a thing. Granted, a lot of the games at the moment, I've become quite fond of the way Joseph writes his rules and the way he pitches them and stuff like that, which is perfect for me. But just talking about it and just having a platform where I can just do a bit of show and tell has been really nice. So those two videos I've been really pleased with. And then I guess, we went to a few...
Go into a few things.
Cons and which is
I
where I got some
told
of
you,
this
we
from.
did say at the start of the first joke, maybe the jokes we didn't release, I said one of the things that will surprise you is that like the content creator journey is one of like accidental discovery,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
is quite exciting. It's
Yeah.
fun seeing you do this.
Yeah, it's been so... I don't know, I've never felt more joy for my craft
Aw.
than I have since
That's
doing...
lovely.
I'm so happy. That's so
It's great.
nice.
I love it. And it's the viewers as well. Credit to the viewers because they've reached out and they've come up with loads of cool suggestions.
Well, they're excited that someone's talking about something they're
Yes,
excited
yeah.
about.
Or they're excited about like something new
Yeah.
and like someone like experiencing the journey that like, oh, I like that journey he's on. I'm going to do that.
I've got a reactive video that's coming out soon to some of the comments, which is a few people said like Stargrave Frostgrave, Silver Bayonet. It's a great rule system, but you need lots of scenery to make it work. And scenery is
But
expensive.
You love scenery.
I love scenery. And I've
scenery.
filmed it, but it won't be out when this comes out. But
Spoilers.
you've seen some pictures. I've got some wooden blocks from a charity shop for £4.
Okay.
And I've turned it into scenery. So it looks like some
It's
ancient wizards.
old school.
ruin.
It's honestly like he showed me the picture of the after, and I was like, "That's not a wooden block."
Really?
Like I was like, I'm like, this is a biggie.
Okay.
This is one which is like crazy cool because you got. Where's your phone?
My phone's over there.
No, it's
I'll
okay.
get it.
We'll
Damn it.
we'll see
I'll get
the
it.
one
It
that's
looks
out.
so
I could put some pictures. I can send
Yeah,
you
you can
some
send me
yeah,
pictures.
yeah.
I have that power.
You do have that power. So
editing.
I guess what that video will focus on is like a really cost-effective way. Excuse me, of making scenery. But then there's the 3D print route, getting some plastic kits. There's
course.
also Battle Systems do cardboard scenery, which I saw at UK Games Expo. Sorry. I'm generally shocked by how sturdy that scenery is as well.
What,
Yeah.
the cardboard stuff?
Yeah, so normally to me,
Interesting.
cardboard's quite flimsy, quite thin. It's always
Yes.
got white edges, so it always immediately just takes you away from the
Yeah, yeah,
environment.
yeah.
Whereas the Battle System stuff, it's coloured, the edges.
Yeah.
Whether that's the stain in the
How do they do
pulp,
that?
I don't know. But it looks really good.
That's you magic.
MS Paints did a video on it where he built a board using like the village they've got, but it's 75 quid, but you get like a village or you
Wow.
get a whole castle. Remember the Mighty Empire Fortress? You get that size of a castle
Wow.
for 75 quid.
Oh, that's amazing.
And they're quite big. The buildings are. There's just a lot of assembly required.
Well, talking about castles.
Oh, castles.
Louise, have you built a castle recently?
Are we on to
Yes.
me?
What have you been up
Yes.
to?
Oh,
well, because we still
so-
got more. Peachy's been to UK Games Expo. You both went to ComicCon.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
just I've been very sick.
Okay.
For 2 weeks. So we went to Comic-Con. That was fine. Didn't get ill from Comic-Con. But then we had Turnip Con.
Which we
Turnip
also
Con.
got to talk about because we had Turnip
we've
Con.
got
It's been
loads.
so much.
So many
Yeah.
cons. So many cons.
Yeah, 3 cons since we last made a video.
2 if you're me. But so we had Turnip Con at our venue, and it was literally like the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my
The
life.
conversions are mental, aren't they?
I took a load of videos. I don't know if I'm going to make a video out of it. I want to do Turnip now. I'm so inspired, but it was crazy.
So what's
good.
your kind of like your
Takeaway?
big takeaways? You have like a couple of like
Just like, yeah, so Turnip, like, I think a lot of people think Turnip is just like, you gotta be as grim and as dark and as gross as
Can we
possible.
explain what it is?
I don't know if I could.
Can you explain it, Peach?
So the way I try and describe it to other people is it's a dark fantasy setting where it kind of combines Napoleonics and medieval
And
But
vegetables.
and vegetables.
vegetables.
Everyone's like root vegetables. They've all got like chits and roots coming off them and stuff like. Most people use static grass clumps and stick it on to represent
and other
it.
gross things.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think some of the people are actually vegetables. They're just like humanoid vegetables.
Yeah.
And others can be humans that are just like really grotty. The warband I did was the Maris Pipers, which are just potato.
I love the
based.
Maris Pipers.
So, and
It's so
led by
funny.
King Edward, also a potato.
Also excellent.
So, a potato.
So yeah, Louise. So like with
Yes.
that, well, like what did you think of that? Because
So a lot of
for
people think
context-
it has to be like the grimmest, darkest
Yeah.
thing ever. But there were just the kind of like variety and diversity in hobby that was there was insane. Like there were bright and colorful miniatures. There were like cactus skeletons riding turtles. It was so cool. But anyway, I got COVID-19 from it. Maybe the most turnip thing of all. I got infected. I think a few of us, absolutely just died after that event. So then I stayed in bed for a week. I don't really remember what happened. I think I started drawing again, which
You
was
have
fun.
done.
Oh,
I think
yes.
maybe are you going to talk about it? Because
I can talk about it.
Because the thing you're doing is my favorite thing I've seen you do in ages.
Okay,
I've
I'll
seen a
talk about
picture
it.
and
If
it's
you-
sexy as hell.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
really? Oh, yay, you
Yes.
like my fever dream art. Thank you. So I don't think the video will be out by the time this comes
Absolutely
out because
not.
it's going to be a biggie.
It's gonna be a biggie.
But what I've always wanted to do since I've done my Rainbow Warrior video, I always struggle to say Rainbow Warrior.
Rainbow Warrior.
Rainbow Warrior.
Do you feel like it's because you want to say Rainbow Warrior?
Rainbow
Warrior?
It's the Rainbow Warrior? I don't know.
Because you're kind of a Rainbow Warrior.
Thank you. But yeah, so I've always wanted. Shut up. I've always wanted to do like the part 2 to that video, which is like, because in my original Rainbow Warrior video, I do a lot of crack lore because I love that shit. And
you do a lot of what?
Crack lore.
Crack
where I'm
lore.
like, yeah, what if these space marines were like, what if they kissed Zinch, but then they left him alone and then they were chaos. Yeah.
Crack lore. I would subscribe to that.
What, just
like,
maybe
I just
like,
want like
and then they got a chainsword, but then it was an Eldar chainsword, and then they kissed the Eldar as well, and they made Eldar space marine
I think
babies.
you've just found your shorts content. It's just 60 seconds of this.
What's that guy's name with the bandana? That does.
Wes Hammer. Shout out to Wes Hammer, the
Shout
OG.
out Wes Hammer. And I'm just Wes Hammer, but I'm like, but then what if the cherubs grew up to become angels of death? And then I would fuck with that.
Yeah,
but,
that would work.
anyway,
I'd watch it. 60 seconds of like me laughing.
I want 60 minutes of that.
just like explosions over Space Marines. Anyway, so I've been doing a little bit of that whilst I was sick with COVID-19. And I started drawing up what Chaos Rainbow Warriors would look like. Because in my video, I was like, some people think, and by some people I mean me, that Rainbow Warriors were like fallen to Zinch and stuff like that. And they have like very strong Zinchy themes like prism and rainbows and stuff like that. So I started drawing it and I think it's really cool. I don't want to give away too many spoilers because the video is not going to be out for a while. But yeah, I just started drawing Chaos Rainbow Warriors, and that's going to be a video that I do.
Okay, that's exciting. Obviously, you don't want to go any deeper into it.
No, but also so this is what I mean when I was like, you've been a bit inspirational because you've
Sure.
you've done this video which is like, and we talked about it a few episodes ago where we were like, it's hard when you know if you do the like not Rainbow the Space Marine lore video, like people beyond your audience are going to want to watch that.
Yeah.
And it's like it's easy to be like, I don't care about views and stuff, but it feels like the metric for success a lot of the time. Of
course.
It does, and I can't help that. So I'm about to do my first ever Lego video. Yes, I know. And I'm so excited too, because the Lego company gave me the D&D set, and that's like huge for me. That's massive for me. And,
I'm so jealous, by the way.
You can come, it's finished now. You can play with it. We can play with it. And yes, so I was like, this is a massive deal for me.
Yeah.
I love D&D, and like, this is so cool. So I spent a little bit of time building it and stuff. And I was like, I'll just make a quick video. But now it's been like 3 weeks.
But then you got
ill.
sick for 2 weeks.
Yes, exactly. So it feels like I haven't put a huge amount of like time into it, but it's just taken so long to do what should have been a quick video. So I'm a bit like bogged down by that. And I kind of know it's gonna like not get as many views as like my more Space Marine-y videos. And that's something that's hard to get your head around because I'm making it because I love it.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm happy to have a platform where I get to make things I love. I just wish that would translate. And it's not happened yet. Maybe it'll do really well.
I'm going to chuck in some confidence boosting in here.
I love that.
Because I want to explore that. I want to use, I've got a vast collection of Lego Star Wars, right?
Yeah, you do.
And I want to do Star Wars Legion or Star Wars Shatterpoint using Lego.
Nice.
Everything.
But that's
is
still
Lego.
miniature. Like,
Yeah, it's still a game.
yeah.
And you're still in
D&D, right?
D&D. Yeah, it's still the same. But the Games Night, who I did a battle report with, they recently did a bolt action battle report, and it was just entirely using Lego. The entire scenery set was made with Lego. All the figures were made with Lego, and it's their most popular.
No way!
Battle report. I mean, within a short space of time, like it's super like rocked up. And it might be the bolt action thing, but I think it's the Lego element as well.
I think like I said, I'm making the video because it's cool. I could have just not made the video. I could have just assembled it, but I'm like, it's such a cool. I just really want to show people how cool it is because the story and it kind of turned into a bit of a lore video because the kit comes with a D&D adventure on D&D Beyond.
Yes, yeah.
And everything in that kit connects to the adventure. What?
Did our, I'm not going to say anything, but did our guesswork pan out
Our guesswork?
of like who
Yes.
and the name of the pub and all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Peachy had big theories, and you were 100% correct.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, we're telling the
At least at this table,
Lego
Peach.
adventure.
At least at this table.
But it's just so cool. So I wanted to do a video where I like talk you through the story of the D&D adventure and how all of the bits in the Lego kit like connect to it, and how it's cool that when you're assembling the tavern, you're also assembling your minifigures because your heroes assemble in a tavern, and
So good.
it's so smart and it's so cool. But it's the first time I've kind of deviated away from the source material a little bit. And I'm just like, I'm looking forward to seeing how people react to it. And I'm sure the people that do watch it will really enjoy it, which is what matters. But I don't know, there is something that makes me feel like a failure when I don't hit that number.
I think you're dealing with two different things here. I think number one,
lack of self-confidence.
Wow.
3.
You're always dealing with that.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think number one, the fact that like working self-employed, we will get sick. That just will be something
I
that's
hate
happening.
that. I hate it.
We just will, and you know, we're really lucky. You were really lucky. You were just ill for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You know, like we're lucky that those things happen.
And I got to work in bed and do some other things.
Yeah,
I even got to edit a bit of the video whilst I was ill and stuff like that. So I wasn't like too bad.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
still, like that just has to be something like.
Yeah, I've got all my limbs, and I am glad of that.
Yeah, but what I mean is like the creator economy, like, is one of those really tough things that, especially for people who like are like really hungry for content, they're like, oh, you know, and you can really feel like you've like fallen out of like the consciousness.
100% feel like that right now. Yeah. Like I haven't streamed. And I don't know if you feel the same way, because you used to stream quite regularly.
I did, and I do need to get back on that. But at the moment, I just find the time.
I'm just exhausted this year. I think my first year, I was like so hyped that I just rode the exhaustion train. And then now this year, I think I'm like, oh no, I'm sleepy.
Well, I think that's the other thing I wanted to say. That was the second thing. Number one, the creator economy is always, hopefully, like a well-informed audience will understand. Like, oh, they were sick, they couldn't do a video for a while.
They're humans.
But some people don't. But like the second thing is like, and Peaches is true for you as well. Like you've just been doing it a year. Like you've only been doing it for a year. You should cut.
No time
this
at
is
all.
there's no time at all. This is your first Lego video.
Yeah.
Like it.
I know, and that in a way makes me excited.
Good.
Though. Like
do
that when you're like it's your first Lego video. I was like, ooh, it's my first Lego video.
Yeah, good.
Like, it made me happy to hear that, because I am a baby content creator. Like I did my first full on lore video recently.
Just
and
a
that
real
was really
big baby.
exciting. Just a
big fucking
massive,
big baby.
This was a 12-pounder, I'm afraid. So.
the boss baby.
Hair and teeth on this as soon as it's come out. Yeah, but thankfully it's an orphan because Peach has killed his parents.
Back to that again.
Into the orphan army you go.
I mean, I kind of get where you're coming from as well,
Yeah.
because when I put content out, like the Frostgrave, the Silver Bayonet, I know I need to get a video out for like my other content, and people have asked like, oh, when are you going to do something about the not the Loyalist Legions, because I've covered like the Loyalists in my first few videos when I first launched. People are like, where are the Traitor Legions and stuff? I'm like, they're coming. Where's this? It's coming.
Yeah.
I've got a massive list of things
You're
I want
only
to work
one
through.
it's not like you have a team anymore as
Yeah.
well. None of us do.
I used to feel that pressure, but now like I try really hard to just see that as a compliment.
Yeah.
I just say
they're excited.
Yeah,
I
like,
love that.
because
yeah.
they're not out there like messaging every person
They're not
being
being
like, where's.
entitled.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think effectively what they're saying is they're like,
Excited.
I
We
love
like
what you
you.
do.
Yeah.
Like I want to see that thing that you do.
Yeah.
Like that's actually pretty cool. And you don't have to. I guess it's hard not to feel it as pressure, because I also do.
Because you want to give people what they want. Like I said in my lore video, I'm going to do the Dark Kraken video. People are so excited for that. I'm so excited for that. But I need Tom. We need an available Tom slot for us to do some sculpting work and stuff like that as well. And then I need to pay. It takes a lot of time. And yeah, so I'm hoping that with this Lego video that it'll meet a small audience of people that are like, this is really cool.
Good.
And if it does that, I will be really, really happy.
I think your audience might, well, you'll have, obviously you're following the audio,
Yeah.
but I think you might get a different audience coming because I've
That's
had a
the
little
other
check.
interesting thing that I've not thought about is like what, because I'm always like, oh, I hope Warhammer people
Yeah.
enjoy this Lego content. What the Lego people find me?
So I watch a lot of Lego content.
you?
Oh yeah.
Tell me
There's a
about
couple of big
that.
ones like Yang Bricks who like reviews
Heard of them?
sets.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
He reviews sets really good.
They have great cameras.
There's Evan, there's a young lad who started. He was a very young lad when he did it. He used to review his Lego sets. That apparently he went mental. As in like not mental as like things were bad for him, but it's like
Yes.
the peak
Numbers went massive.
numbers went massive.
Yes.
So I don't know if he still does it now, but yeah, there used to be lots I used to watch, but it's really good because like Yang Bricks would do a review,
Mm-hmm.
show the stuff, talk about the kit, maybe pass on some thoughts and stuff. But I don't. If I've had a look, but there's not anything to do with that set yet. So people are probably hungry to find out the set.
I've seen some people. Well, this is it because I was like, as well, it's not like a new release anymore.
No,
People
yeah.
are already talking about what's next. The Mordor set.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god,
Yes,
which
that looks
we
so
need
good.
that.
Yes, we do.
We need it. And they've got a new Zelda Deku Tree set coming out, which comes with a tiny ocarina, which is so fun.
Oh, adorable.
You and ocarinas. I've only just been recently introduced to this.
I got my first ocarina with Peachy at
Comic-Con.
ComicCon.
So do you guys want to tell us about what going to
let's
Comic
talk
Con was
about
like?
Can we hear
Comic-Con.
about you first, about your week?
Robert Symes.
And then we can talk about Robert Symes.
Robert
Can we
George.
talk about Robert Symes?
R.G. Symes, which sounds like a fantasy author's
what
name.
is
and
the
I love
question?
it.
R.G. Symes.
R.G. Symes.
So how's your week and
How are
2 weeks
you?
been since we've had, because you obviously had Turnip Con here as
Yes,
well.
we had Turnip Con. Shout out
You
to
look
Ben,
nice.
who is the... Thank you. We had Ben, who was the organizer, who was great. We had 44 people play Turnip
40,
Con.
that's
So I
more than
think-
the last one I went to as well. That's
yeah,
pretty good.
it's the world's biggest Turnip 28 event ever.
Amazing.
But again, I there's no credit to me. I was just like the man with the building. But it was Ben.
That's quite a big thing to have. Like they brought the armies, you brought the entire plot of land and the construction.
But yeah, so Ben was great. He was really, really like thoughtful. Got loads of
Ben
stuff
was
done.
on it.
Yeah, he was super on
Ben
it.
was,
Which is
like,
good. And it was only
professional.
a 1 day event. He's
Yeah.
talking about doing it for 2 days, and because you can only play it for an
You can
hour.
play a
is
game
the
of
match.
Turnip in 40
So they did
minutes, I
5.
think
Yeah,
he
they did like 4 matches, 5 matches. Sorry, and the armies were great. If I'm 100% honest, me and Louise have had this conversation
Have
many
we?
times. I don't love old hammer sculpts.
Yeah.
I kind of look at them and I'm like, and I apologize to anyone out there who loves them. It's just
Including me. Just look at me and say this.
it's an aesthetic feeling I have. Okay, I apologize, Louise.
You're not allowed aesthetic feelings, only objective truths.
Like I just look at them and I think I would never have got into this. They look goofy, but
You have a Chaos Dwarf army.
they do not look goofy. How
my
dare you? I don't have big hats, Chaos Dwarfs.
I know, which is like when you're like, oh, I play Chaos Dwarves. I was like, oh, who's
think I've
he?
Yeah, I play
Who's
absolutely
he?
gangster Alan Bly Chaos Dwarfs.
I know, but
I've got
when-
a Chaos Dwarf. I'm going to paint up for his birthday and give it him. You can get a
Give
choice
it,
there.
give it him, extend the hat.
Extend it
Yeah,
real
when
big.
Rob was like flirting with me, he was like, oh, I have a Chaos Dwarf army. And I was like,
None of that is true. This is lies that she's making up on the internet.
That's
and I am
so
not here for this. I'm
cool.
going to edit this out.
and then it was just like, I was like, because, you know, when you meet a guy and he says he has a Chaos Dwarf army,
Oh
you
my
don't
God.
want to be like, how big is your hat? But at the same time, I did see the army and I was like,
I
that's
hate this.
really good.
This is great.
Their beards are
More content
so
like this,
long.
please.
Okay. Anyway.
He's gone Wazdaka red.
I have to now.
But the bit was therefore I've never really been an old hammer person.
Yeah.
And I think, maybe I'm like kind of 3rd, 4th gen Warhammer person. I'm trying to like work out where it was because I didn't play
Like a
when I was
GC the
younger.
cultist. to a degree,
Effectively. But what I'm trying to say is,
like, you got into it, what, in like 2010 later?
yeah, maybe 2010, 2012.
Yeah.
But like the bit I'm trying to express is that there's you read about like the very OG Warhammer. You know when it was what was it called? Road Trader and
Road
stuff like
Trader,
that.
80s.
And then you see some of the like very like there's goofy stuff as in like I don't know how
Ostrich
current. No, I'm not talking about that far back. I'm talking about
Oh.
like like stuff from the 90s and early
Oh,
noughties.
so like
it was
what, like first, like second edition Space Marines, where
no, because they're further back. What I'm saying is like you know when you saw all like the punk aesthetic, like Space Marines, and like when Louise was describing like the Rainbow Warriors, and there was like all of that artwork and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Like, and it felt like it had that like it maintained whimsy. And then what Turnip was...
It had a bit of fantasy in it.
Yeah, exactly. So like with Turnip, I felt like I never got to be in that generation of like 40K or fantasy or whatever, where it was actually the whimsy, but serious, but whimsy, but serious, but whimsy.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt about Turnip. I was like, actually, I can see all of that on display. I see the person who's done the incredibly serious, like, carnival of horror. And I can see the guy that's dressed as a chef, and his display board is literally a charcuterie board, and his cannon is a teapot, right?
But he had actual meats on his display board.
He had meats on his display board.
He had a rat in his hat.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Ratatouille.
Yeah. The Carly brothers are so great.
Oh, amazing.
It was amazing.
So like I felt like I could get that little sense of what that generation, which obviously is a much smaller generation. The current 40K Age of Sigmar kind of like modern Games Workshop generation is a massive generation of people.
Yeah.
Like it's so much more people. But like that's what I took away from the event. And I thought like Max, who we are interviewing in a couple of weeks, Max, who does Turnip 28, Ben, but also all of the people who took part.
The turnips.
Yeah, the turnips. I was like, it was really fun to see that, different dynamic, which I didn't get to ever be a part of. So I enjoyed that for that
You could
reason.
be a part of it.
Yeah, no, I could currently be a part of it. But
Yeah.
what I mean is nice is if Max and those other people hadn't kind of like coalesced into this group, then that wouldn't exist. And then
They have a space to be little freaks in, and that's lovely.
yeah, but and it was really creative.
And boy, were they.
Yeah, boy were they. And it kind of makes me feel how you're about like what you're on with your journey, Peach. Like it just makes me feel like there's just some whimsy sometimes that I feel is a bit lost.
Yeah.
Not on me.
Because one of the things that I say with wargaming is the worst thing it can be is dull.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can be is dull.
So you're struggling a little bit with that right now because I overhear you
saying Rob's dull? That's hard.
No, he just doesn't have the biggest hats in the world.
These big hats.
Jesus. Okay.
No, so I overhear Rob streaming quite a lot, and I listen to a lot of his streams. And Rob, you've been reviewing a lot of the new rules coming out for Age of Sigmar 4. Tell us your thoughts.
Age of Sigmar 4 so far is looking like what they're trying to do is build a game. This is an interesting kind of point. I could go into this for ages, but long story short, I don't know what game they're trying to make.
What do you mean?
So like if you're trying to make like a war game,
Which they are,
like
yeah.
you like there's probably a question that you would be making like a tactical simulation, playing Napoleonics or something like that. It's a cannon, is it a windy day? There's simulation and
I
then
see what
there's
you mean, yeah.
abstraction,
Yeah.
and then there's like it's not trying to be any of those things, it's just there's some playing pieces and they do some stuff.
It's something else. Yeah.
It's something else. And like Age of Sigmar seems like it's an interesting place. It will be a fun game because everyone who plays war games generally is pretty fun.
You bring your own fun.
Yeah,
If you've painted up your minis and you've spent the time doing it, even if you haven't, and you like the game, you like the setting, you tend to bring your own fun. So even if something isn't great, you'll make it fun by making it do a little noise or making your horse go click clop click clop.
Yep, I do that all the time.
Yes, I've been reviewing every faction thing so far, and it's been really interesting. Watching the community's reaction has been super interesting because like it's different, but it's not too different, but it feels the same. And I've been through this journey a couple of times. I've been through it with 40K, I've been through it with Age of Sigmar. Obviously, Old World came out at the beginning of the year, so it's interesting to see people's reactions because they're all so emotionally invested.
Yeah, of course.
Of course they are.
Of course they are.
Like when the Stormcasts went away, I was like, is this a big deal? And everyone with the Stormcast army was like, as they should be.
Yeah,
they should be.
But like, but I'm emotionally committed to it as well as a game system.
Yeah.
But like, it's really difficult. Not difficult, but like I'm trying to thread a needle of being my reactions to the subject, and then also like the professional reactions of trying to explain it really well.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like I'm trying to be like, this is what's going on in the game, and then some people are like, how do you feel about it? And I'm like, well, actually, there's not enough context yet. So like right now, I'm just going to put that to the side, and I'm going to deal with it later. So yeah, I'm not really sure about it in the far.
When does everyone just get to start playing it? Like when's it launched?
Probably in sometime in the next 2 to 4 weeks, but like,
That's
but they
soon.
don't communicate. That is the problem.
I was about to say I haven't heard anything about this.
Yeah, they don't communicate. Oh, they have announced the launch box and stuff.
Yeah,
but like,
they had
don't-
the open day.
Yeah, they just don't communicate that information really well, which I think is.
I don't even think we got to talk about the Age of Sigmar open day that we went to. Do
No.
you want to
no.
tell them
All about
about?
that.
Yeah,
All
me
about
too.
that.
It was so long ago.
I'm going to give you my quick TLDR of things I've done in the past few weeks.
Oh, yes.
Turnip ran 2 different Warhammer events. One was Old World. Both were Old World, actually, and also Turnip. been making videos about Old World and Age of Sigmar, which has been fun. We have I packed 10,000 rings into sleeves.
Can we do a little? Let's do a little
The
plus.
ring thing.
The ring thing. Because I saw that on Twitter. I was like,
Yes.
what is this ring
So
thing?
Rob, let's do a product plug. This episode of Jugs is sponsored by Rob's Rings. Take it away, Rob.
I don't want that to be the title.
Take it away, Rob.
Rob's ring.
They're not. It's not.
Currently, if you visit thehonestwargamer.com, you can buy some new objective markers.
Yeah. They're not super exciting because they aren't.
Why
but they're
don't
just
we have them here?
because I didn't want to bring them here.
We'll bring your rings on, Jugs. Come on.
But the back in the day, a couple of years ago, maybe it was like 6 years ago, James, I love James to pieces, and me were live streaming quite a few events all across England. And one of the things that we really need to do when we live streamed a game was know who held an objective.
Yeah.
And obviously in Age of Sigmar and 40k and Legion Imperialis and some other games, sometimes there's an objective token.
Yeah.
And
Or like a
sometimes
little bit of scenic.
yeah, and sometimes there's like a control range.
Yeah.
So some French guys done like kind of like a Perspex ring
Yes,
and
I
brought
see,
them to an
yeah,
event. And this like blew our minds. I was like, oh my God. So James and me went away. We got some Perspex rings made. And then they sold all over the world because people were like, we need these.
Yeah.
And then that kind of created like this ring economy. People
ring economy.
Yeah. Because
you were a ring leader?
There was like, there ended up being like an entire like Kickstarter that ended up being like a ring scam.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God, were these the guys that were like, Rob's rings fucking suck?
Yeah.
And then they like ran it over with like
a car. Yeah, they were like ripping them up and like they were doing all
And
sorts
they
of
were
crazy
like,
shit.
Yeah, so they were like Rob's rings and they were like ripping them up and running them over and they're like, our rings are better. And then it was like very similar
Was this
rings.
the War of the Ring?
Oh my God, it was the War of the Ring.
8 rings there was given to men.
So then they got their own rings and they're like, you can't actually tear
Made
it.
from space age material, they said. It was the same material.
Yeah.
Space age
It
material.
was just the same material. All right, and
It was a wild drama
but it ended up being
over these rings.
Yeah, it ended up being a scam. So the
Really?
Kickstarter, they never delivered any of the Kickstarter. Then they did like an Indiegogo, and then they never delivered any of those. And then both of those sites now say like this has been suspended by Indiegogo and
It's all that
Kickstarter.
space age material.
I know, right?
Couldn't
They just
fucking
couldn't get
handle
any.
it. Jesus.
Anyway, yeah, so I packed 10,000 rings because from Age of Sigmar. So then the ring economy kicked off, and then you ended up with a bunch of like mouse mat material that you use for
This kind of stuff. What's it called? Neoprene.
neoprene. Yeah. So then a lot of people have like neoprene mats, and some of them are like kind of
Neoprene
nice
rings.
because they've got like. There's like a gem in the middle and there's like earthquake stuff around it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And some of them just have some gross podcast logo on. Yeah.
A lot of people have their team logos as
Or
rings,
team logo.
and that's nice.
Disagree.
So some people hate the rings. Some people just freaking hate rings.
So our rings that we do intentionally are
Non-obstructive.
see-through.
Yeah.
So the idea, like, you're always going to see them, especially if there's like bright lights and stuff, because it's a reflective material. We've tried to solve that; it's not possible. But we tried to make it so that you can kind of see the mat through it, so it feels part of the thing. And then Tom has then
We love Tom,
sculpted,
we
because
love
it's
Tom.
for Age of Sigmar. Tom has sculpted like 8 objective markers for each faction. So that like if you
he's been
collect
busy.
so if you collect
amazing.
Stormcast, there's
Yeah.
like 8 tokens that like look
Are
like
Stormcast themed.
Yeah, Stormcast
that's
themed,
really cool,
and then
yeah.
so then
They're
because
so
you put
good.
those in the middle,
Yeah.
if you want, you don't have to obviously, but yeah, we've just been packing those.
I've got a thought on that as to why some people won't like these plastic rings
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like the ones with the team designs on it and stuff like that because it throws you out the narrative, right?
immersion.
The immersion. But for me, that's why I play immersive games and narrative games. But I wouldn't have the clear perspex.
Yeah, it's a choice.
I would
You don't
know.
have to
yeah, exactly.
have-
It's a
yeah.
choice based thing. I would know that my treasure chest, my burnt tent, the weird tomb sarcophagus that's slightly open, and whatever else I choose to have are the objectives. It's very clear on my gaming board. But from a tournament point of view, that's a bit harder to.
Yeah.
It's
keep track
really
of,
hard.
so-
Like that one of the bits of feedback that we constantly got, because when we first started selling them, this is really far back, like 6 years ago. Some people would say, I don't want them on the board because I don't want my opponent to know if they're on the objective or not. And I was
That's
just like,
not very sporting.
Yeah.
it's not very sporting as well. Like it's really clear Like, you don't have to do that, like, measure you with your tape measure. It's just very obvious.
Yeah, you can just be on it.
But the reason I don't like the logo ones, and if you've got logo ones and you love them, I apologize. But the reason is because ultimately, I'm a nerd, and I actually want the battlefield to look like a battlefield.
Yes.
I can't help the fact that I need to know where the objective markers thing is. That's the game state.
Yeah.
And I do like some of the neoprene ones that have some sort of design on. But in my opinion, the very
flavour.
Yeah, the best kind of transferable thing would be a see-through thing.
Yeah.
Which is why I make see-through ones.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's the thing you need.
Yeah.
And it's great.
They
And
look
then,
really classy as well. You've got like a subtle fade
Yeah,
around
that's
the
Tom.
outside.
That's all Tom again.
It looks really good.
yeah, it has like a
Ooh,
fade.
I need to
so,
see some of these.
I know.
yeah.
We should have got them on the show.
We'll get them.
I think a lot of people forget, because a lot of the things that I see where people are like, I hate the objective rings, are in the same people who are like, I just don't like competitive Warhammer.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be a new name for competitive Warhammer, because I think the word competitive just turns British people off because they hate the idea of being competitive and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people forget that all this stuff is choice.
Yes.
Right? It's your choice whether you want to play the game like with the rules being at the forefront, where you're like, you know the rules really well, I know the rules really well, shake hands, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to engage in those games if you don't want to, and you don't have to use objective rings if you don't want to, and other people doing it doesn't spoil your fun, or shouldn't spoil your fun.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's each their own. The only thing I'm trying to do, and that's why it's super boring, but we talked about it loads, is that it just provides
it's boring.
It just provides a service, because like everyone who goes to events, because Age of Sigmar 3 and 2, it was 6 inches from the center, so it was like a massive 12-inch ring. But now they've gone
They're
down
smaller
to
now.
Keep talking.
now it's
Massive
keep talking.
12-inch
But now
ring.
it's a 40mm objective and then 3 inches from the edge.
Right.
So they're smaller now,
Yeah, so
which
they're
is
smaller.
nice, and they do look really classy.
They do look nice. They do
so
look nice.
check them out now.
Yeah.
At the
That's not what that was. I just packed 10,000 of them,
Yeah.
which is
I
like
keep
one of
thinking,
them.
like the Grand Old Duke of
10,000
York.
rings. Sounds
Yeah.
like it should be like some movie title.
Yeah, shout out to Morgan,
10,000
Oscar, and Chris, who also were there for the day. We did movie night.
Were they your wing bearers?
Yeah, they're the ring bearers.
I said wing by accident.
I heard Wingardium Leviosa.
bearers. Wing bearers.
So that's what I've been up to, and then
Cool.
I also went to UKGE.
Rob's
events,
first ever time at
videos.
UK Games Expo.
We'd never crossed paths on that
You were
one.
on
We
did
went different
days?
days.
We weren't different days.
Yeah, so it's so hard to cross paths.
different days. I know, I was sad because I didn't know if you were going. I thought you were going to come on the Sunday, but
They went without me.
that's fine
Which
because
is
you're
fine.
real.
I
You're in
know,
bed.
but I was still mad.
Yeah.
But like,
You were
so
mad.
it was the first one I'd ever missed in like
Yes.
6 years,
Yeah.
but it was Rob's first ever UK
Oh,
Games
really?
Expo. Yeah, and I want to
Ooh.
know, Robert,
Tell us about your feelings.
what are your feelings?
no.
Oh yeah. So to get it out of the way, I love it. Peachy,
Yeah.
you love it.
I've never been on the Friday or Saturday, but I do like the Sunday because it's quieter.
I
and
like the
chilled.
Friday because it's quieter.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is the Friday
Fridays,
quite quiet?
They're
Oh, okay.
quieter, but still. Did you go on the Friday?
I went on the Friday.
Oh my god. Okay, yes. So
Pitch me what the UK Games Expo is.
UK Games Expo to me is an event where it showcases board gaming, wargaming, card gaming, and lots of other random stuff like hobby. Not just that, but people
Nerdy.
selling bags and boxes, tools, accessories. People that have got Lego blasters that you can buy as a kit. It seems to me like a nice conglomerate of just cool geeky stuff.
Okay.
yes, good pitch. Good
But
pitch.
mostly aimed at board games, card games. My biggest, since taking Charlie on Sunday, my biggest
yeah, you went with
plus
Charlie.
on it is it's very heavily catered to kids as well. Because all the tickets are free for children. And I'm a big fan of that. I mentioned this, I've done a little video about the cons I've gone to in the
Good.
last few months.
For YouTube or Patreon?
For YouTube and
Oh,
Patreon. Patreon's got it
nice.
first. And it was, there was a lot of people that are very dismissive of children. There's a lot of people there. I mean, like, as in like some punters that just wear massive bags. They're at kids' height. So Charlie was getting whacked in the face quite a
okay.
lot. So having to
Sorry, I
carry a
shouldn't laugh at
6-year-old.
that.
I mean, it was.
Do you know what, Peachy? He'd be
It
much
was
stronger
funny.
if he was an orphan. If he was an orphan, he'd fucking survive.
It would be a Ranger's Shadow Deep, a Red Crow, or what we're called.
Be shivving those bags.
But yeah, I like it for that. But there's a lot of stuff that I didn't get to see all of it because it's so big. But for me, it's a nice. I get to see a lot of different. I get a lot of variety.
And a lot of people go.
Yeah, and a lot
So
of
it's
people
nice
go.
to see your friends a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
That's true.
But
That's true.
Rob,
I went on the Friday. I went with Tom, Ash, and Goz. Shout out to those. Meant to go with Louise, but obviously she was sick.
I was dead.
We got there about like 10-ish, maybe 10, 11-ish. I've never been. I've been to a lot of cons. Been to Essen.
Essen's huge.
Yeah, with Games Workshop and stuff. And I was trying to really think about it. I'm not sure I don't know if I'm even a board game person, to be honest.
I don't think you are.
I don't think I am. I'm definitely a miniatures person.
Yeah.
Like, and I saw, like, I've seen the Witcher game in like a local game store recently, and
But they
it's
have
got a
miniatures in them, and
it's got a bunch of
that's why
miniatures,
you're
and I'm like,
like,
okay, I'm into that. That's cool. So I think I'm just really miniature coded mentally.
Yeah.
I'm miniature coded mentally too. That's a great thing to say.
Miniature coded mentally.
Like based in miniature coded.
That's a t-shirt. That is based in miniature coded.
Based in miniature coded.
But I had some problems with UKG. I saw loads of cool stuff. I saw loads of cool people, and I loved that. And everything you say before, but doesn't count. But it was busy, which is fine.
Which is good for the industry.
Which is good for the industry, but there's some stuff I would change.
Okay.
I think one of the things that I really disliked about Warhammer Fest was I had the inability. I can no longer talk to the creators.
Oh, we hate that.
Yeah, we hate that.
Yeah,
right?
we hate that.
Yeah,
We're all icky about that. Also, Games Workshop wasn't at Games Expo,
Have not done anything.
which is the first time
This
they've
year,
not been there
done nothing.
in ever.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's
No
shocking.
representation at all from Games
Yeah,
Workshop.
and they usually have, when you walk in, the biggest stall.
Yeah.
Like you walk in and it's Games Workshop and they have the
They
painting
did,
tables.
Leviathan teaching people how to play, because you got queues
Yeah.
at it was 10th edition.
I remember.
That
was last year.
Yeah, that was
last
so
year.
Warhammer
Yeah.
Fish had to queue at Expo.
Yeah.
It was fine.
So I think if you went to Expo and you did 3 days, which kind of sounds silly because it's
Sounds
like
like a
throwing
lot.
good money after bad, then you would get to go to a thing, see a person, they'd be like, I have a game, and then you book a time slot into play and you learn how to play.
You can do that, though.
And you can, which
Yeah.
I think is really
and you
great.
can book in like role-playing sessions and all of that jazz.
Which I think is all great,
Yes.
and I'm super keen on that.
Yes.
And I think that would be cool. But as a day experience, you're kind of wandering around.
Yeah.
All the stalls are too busy.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people.
Yeah.
For you to really ever have a chat with the creators or what is this or design.
there's no downtime for anyone at any time at any stall.
Yeah, I'd like to say something, and especially because there's a couple of wonderful people who go to the event, and I know Liz listens to the show, so I want to be clear. But I'm not super keen on there being resellers. So
This is a hot take from Rob, and I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, my point was I found this really cute. I ended up buying. I'd love to talk about this journey I went on buying Louise a game.
Yes.
But I found this really cute little store. I really wanted to talk to the person who was working there, but it was very small. And it was very busy, so I never got the chance to even be like, "What is this?" You can ask any questions, which I feel is the point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I felt really sad at Salute that I didn't get to talk to enough people about Rascal Town. I was just talking to everyone about you know what I mean?
Exactly.
There wasn't time for someone who didn't know what Rascal Town was to come across and have a chat with you about it.
Which is one of the things we talked about, right?
Yes.
Like next year, 18 people, a bajillion size store.
Yeah, so that people can actually ask questions and be curious.
Yeah. And also, I got some good feedback from us as well.
Oh, yeah?
Because one of the things, please, if you're one of the people ever displaying at an event again, please, if you have a wicked logo like you did, there was this really cool cyberpunk looking thing. I was like, that looks cool. So I walked over. A little self.
I was walking
over. That looks cool. And then there was a guy and he was talking to someone. He had no time. And then I was looking around. I was like, what is this? And 5 minutes later, I still was none the wiser. I didn't want to pick anything up.
Yeah.
Because that's their stuff.
You didn't know.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Yeah, you didn't know. I didn't know if it's display stuff or if it's stuff you can pick up. I'm not that ignorant person. I'm not going to touch people's stuff. So I was like, what is this? And the person was never free. And then at one point they were free and then it definitely didn't want to approach me. So I was like, I'm just going to leave you to it.
What do you mean they definitely
because
didn't
they didn't.
want to
They turned away. They were clearly like, I'm tired already. And
they're
bless
not a
them.
fan of the Honest Wargamer. That's why.
I was like,
maybe it was that.
no.
But then I was like, if there were just a tagline, if it was just
tagline.
whatever the thing is, an RPG in space with Napoleonic vibes, you're like, fine.
I like this idea, so I'm trying to come up with a tagline for Rascal Town.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a game yet, so if you're coming across Rascal Town, I like this thing that Rob said, which is you should have taglines.
Yeah.
So it's Rascal Town, a miniature friendship adventure.
Well,
I think that's one of the things Turnip's so successful at. Napoleonic war game with vegetables.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
bang.
Got
Yeah,
it.
Like,
Sword
got
and
it.
Bayonet, Gothic horror in the Napoleonic Wars.
That's it. Yeah, a tagline.
It tells you everything you need to know about
Warhammer,
it.
the grimdark, like war in the far future or something.
yeah.
Everything has a tagline. I think you're right. I think taglines are maybe not just as important as logos, but useful.
It's really useful, especially when I went to be like, what cool stuff can I see?
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw loads of cool stuff, but I didn't know what any of it was.
Yeah.
You didn't know if it was like a game, a role-playing system, a miniatures.
And I mean, you
or-
could go further than that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, have a bit of a board that's like, you know, 5 bullet points about why it's good
We
or
had an about
things you, should
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Absolute. We had a little what is Rascal Town?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolute,
I think
but
like a what
if you
is
could get
this?
close enough to read it.
Yeah, so I think that would have been fun. But getting back to the reseller point, so that was a bit that kind of frustrated me eventually.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Don't
I
know
don't know
what
what anything
anything
is.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I've walked around for ages. I don't know what anything is. I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
And then my final bit is with the resellers. And again, my love to the people working in those stores and making a business. I just, like, from a financial point of view, the biggest space was taken up by like these kind of like mega stores that were selling loads of brands
Hobby
of
material?
stuff. No, they were selling like, you know, they were selling Games Workshop stuff. And then they were
Oh,
selling
I see
like,
what you mean. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Sometimes it's discounting, sometimes it's like...
Resellers.
yeah,
That's quite
resellers.
like- yeah.
That's what they are.
Shops that
There's a lot of
sell
them, yeah.
other companies' stuff.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And my hot take is that all of the resellers were the biggest stores.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
They were the biggest stores. With the exception of maybe Modifius, they had a massive store.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
was
they-
their
they-
own stuff, though.
That was
right?
their own stuff,
Yeah.
right?
They
And that
just
was
have
super
loads
cool.
of IPs, which
Yeah.
is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun. They also had soft, squishy floor, which I liked.
Oh, they do?
It was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, the resellers, and I can understand that probably those resellers make loads of money.
Yeah, yeah.
And therefore that footage that they pay for, they probably spend a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
And therefore UK Games Expo is probably like, you can definitely come because you're going to give us a lot of money to advertise,
Yeah.
not to advertise, to buy the floor space.
Yeah.
But that meant when I found a cute little stall, it was like this big.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
probably the cost of it is probably suppressed by the resellers or inflated by the resellers. And also, I don't need the reseller. Like, I mean that in the nicest way. Like, some of them had unique stuff, like unique paints and unique game systems and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
which is fine. But I would really love to talk to the creators.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if that makes me entitled.
No,
No,
it doesn't.
no,
It
no.
doesn't. So I think I agree, but also I think there is. So for example, I would always be like, yeah, there should be an Element Games. There should be like an Element Games. There should be a Wayland Games. There should be like somewhere where once you've gone around and you've talked to all the indie creators and you've got all your stuff, you can buy your paints. You can buy like your brushes. You can like just like you would any other hobby shop.
Well, when we'll get to it in a bit,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
when
yeah.
we went to ComicCon, there was the
Yes.
artists.
Artist
hall.
Alley.
Artist Alley.
Yeah.
And it feels that maybe.
was so nice.
Expo could benefit from. You got your reseller hall, you got your gaming hall, and then you got your indie hall, where they get a little bit more space because they're an upcoming thing. It's maybe a little bit more like a discounted spot because it's their first year going.
Well,
to that
I think
expo.
there were sections like that.
They were, but not. They were like scattered.
And that was the other problem
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. Like it was really scattered. Like when we all went to the manufacturing expo.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like all the 3D printings over there. We're like, cool,
yeah.
we'll go over there. 'Cause I
You're
don't-
rocking down to Electric Avenue.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
But like there was loads of cool stuff there. I want to be really clear.
Yeah, yeah.
It was really fun seeing. But I was
You were
like,
just a bit overwhelmed. And
there really wasn't anything there for me.
discombobulate.
that's what it was. I was like, all
What
of this.
would you have liked to have been there?
If I was going to do it properly, I would do it for 3 days, which is kind of funny when I'm like, I didn't enjoy the
you
one
mean
day.
go for 3 days?
You go
Right,
for 3
okay,
days because
okay.
then you would do I'm going to book all the games.
Yes,
in.
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
learn how to play.
Yeah,
You're
this is my role playing day. This is my walk around day. This is my sort of buying things day.
Yes.
And then in between, you go to the hotel and you plan everything. I think people do that.
Which I think is good.
I had to do a very micro version of that on the Sunday because we went through and Charlie was just like, want to play that? I was like, we're going to have a little wander around first.
I want to
and just
ask
have a
how
little
How Charlie was. How did he
thoroughly-
react to it?
He enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I mentioned this in my video. So kids are incredible human beings, right? So,
Orphans as well.
Orphans as well.
I think we should have orphans in the title of this
Yeah,
video.
definitely. Yeah.
The orphan
Orphans,
wars.
rings, and God knows what.
Orphans, rings, and
Lego.
Lego.
But I took him round, and there was a lot of like, oh, I want to play that day. I was like, we'll just have a little look, then we'll come back because that does look quite cool. We'll play that.
Because he likes games,
He
doesn't
does like
yeah,
games.
he likes games.
There was moments where he was getting really bored, really frustrated. Granted, people would come and stop and have a chat. I'd see people, because I had a couple of destinations I was going to go to. I wanted to go to the Colour Forge stand just to talk about the Kickstarter, which is still on, by the way.
Oh, I'm so sad that I
think
missed the Colour Forge, guys. If they're watching this, I'm sorry
They
I was too
will
sick
watch
to
it, 'cause
say
they're big Jugs
goodbye.
heads.
Thank you. But yeah, sorry I've been a bit no
But yeah, we
contact,
wandered
been
around.
sick.
He saw some stuff. We saw some games, and then we played a game, and it was going so well. It was I ended up buying the game for him. It's called Fandooble. Fandooble, the Dragon's Eye.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So you basically have to steal stuff off dragons. There's a dragon horde in the middle, and you have to try and steal it.
Fun.
But then also steal off your mates as well. And it's just a bit of
I would
fun.
love to play this game.
When I play games at home with Charlie, I try my best not to win. But also he's got to learn resilience and learn to lose as well. So I do scupper him sometimes. He wasn't winning, and we had a few tears. The lady that was showing us the game was really good. He was picking up the rules really well. But he had a moment where I got the Dragon's Eye and I won because I got one of each gem, the Dragon's Eye.
You were like, you're going to learn today.
And the lady was
Peach.
like, you've won. I was like, don't say that. Just take that away.
Just keep it going.
And he just had a moment. Yeah. So we went away. We had some lunch. We went round. I was like, do you want to try something else? He's like, no, I really want to play Dragon's Eye. I was like, mate, if I win again, don't cry. He was like, no, I won't
Mate,
cry.
if I win again, just don't win me.
We did all this. We played again because we got the set. We found somewhere to sit down. We played it because that was a really nice thing. There's some areas where you can sit down and play as well.
Yeah.
And he played 3 games. He smashed it. He's like, I wasn't even trying. He was just smashing it.
Oh, nice.
And he's like 6.
And he's 6, yeah. But there was a lot of whinging, a lot of moaning, a lot of tears. He was very sleepy. A couple of days later, I was like, how was it? Did you enjoy it? It was like best day ever. I was like,
Oh.
Wait, hold on. So the way Charlie was acting is not how I'm meant to act at events. Is that right?
You whinge and you moan, and then 2 days later, like,
I could
actually,
pick you
that
up
was
and put you
quite
on my
good.
shoulder for a bit, Rob.
I was going to say, what did you say to him? Because I would like to hear.
So Peachy, what you need to get into is on TikTok, there's like this new trend of kids playing Uno.
Okay,
And they are just having the worst fucking time.
Are they losing their shit?
They are just having, it's like their first time having that cognitive, like, I want to win, and the disappointment of not winning.
Yeah.
And they just lose, like, they are just scream crying. Like, sure, and they're so tiny.
Yeah.
They're like Charlie's age. And it's not their fault because they don't understand how to regulate their emotions.
They've got to
like
build
adults.
resilience. They've got to learn to lose with grace. And that's something that we're teaching them at the moment is like, there's been a good winner, but there's also
and
been
that.
a good loser as well.
Yeah.
So you have to learn those two
Yeah,
things.
and that's like extra complicated, but they don't know how to regulate emotions. So they're just like,
But he was
and
tired
then
as well.
like the mum is like putting down the reverse card like slowly, and this kid's like, no.
See, I played Uno, so I understand the reverse cards. And
We
all
used
this
to
kind of-
have in my we called it like machine gun Uno, and we had the Uno machine gun where instead of like how you have like draw 2, it was this card machine that like fired cards at you. So instead of like having 2 cards, you would get like 80 fucking cards. So I think we were chucked in the deep end.
Wait,
like,
was this when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Explains so much.
Shut the fuck up. Did anyone else have the machine then? Like, and it would fire
No.
like it was like Russian roulette as well. So you would turn it around, and my sister would like turn it onto me and be like, she would just like she would always click it more times and stuff. But yeah, I learned the hard way just by death by Uno.
Death by Uno.
But you should get that because it makes it fun to get cards as
we
well.
played
but
it at Christmas with some family, and it was good fun.
It shouldn't. Uno is the most like soul destroying game. I don't think kids are ready for Uno. But yeah, I'll show you the TikTok.
I don't know. Maybe kids need Uno.
Kids
to build
need Uno. It's character
resilience.
building.
Your character building.
Character building.
Yeah. So my experience was like, I don't know. It was just like one of them, like chef in a kitchen situation. I was like,
Chef
I would
in a
do this.
kitchen?
Well, just like when you're a professional in a space, you just are like, I would just do this differently. I think.
Yeah.
Again, logistically, organizing Game Expo is excellent. Like it felt like the entire thing was run super well. Like
it's very professional.
While I felt it was busy, I never felt like it was too busy. I don't have any like complaints towards the organizers or anything like that. I just think like looking at it as a piece, I think I was just more excited and interested in maybe like, I don't know, exploring the settings a little bit more than what it was. Oh, my one quick story is really interesting thing was Louise was sick, so I was like, okay, I'm going to buy her a present.
I was like, bring me a present back from the wall.
Yeah, so Louise was like, yeah, bring me a present. I had a really interesting journey with that because like I like to think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to games, but I've got a partner who like is like really interested in games and miniatures.
The comment
and paints
section will just say you're my roommate.
Yeah,
still,
exactly.
but
Yeah,
however,
yeah, my roommate. But we, I was like, this is so interesting. So I went around. I looked at loads of different board games. I was like, that's too many bits. That's too much stuff. That's too many dice. Too many tokens.
too many dice. You're wrong with that one.
Oh,
buddy.
okay. Well, there were lots of tokens, and then I was like, miniatures. She doesn't really need any miniatures. Like,
Sorry, you're wrong again.
well, I don't think you need any miniatures.
That's fair. That's fair.
And then paints and stuff. I was like, well, she literally has her own paints, so I think that's fine. And so I was like, what is it I can get her? So I bought three things, but one.
You nailed it. Can I just say ahead of time, like you smashed it?
Yeah, but it was really interesting being someone who's into games, trying to buy for someone who is also into games, but oddly
in
isn't.
A weird way.
Yeah.
In
And it really reminded me of like Peach's journey with the games he's playing.
Yeah.
Because I ended up. Oh, I got you the cool thing, didn't I?
Yeah. You got me like the cool black metal thing, which is like this is just an easy win. You got me Morkborg.
Yeah. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's just a black metal RPG. You know, we
All
talked about
the cool kids are playing it. It has
Okay.
great like aesthetics and graphic design, and it looks really fun.
Yeah, but if you're into it, you're a poser.
Okay.
Yeah.
He went over to the stall.
Yeah.
Oi! Fuck you! I can name at least 5 songs on everything on my little class. But yeah, so Rob went over to the stall, and I think it was just some like black metal Norwegians who were like, "Hello, would you like to play Morkborg?"
Yeah. No, they didn't talk to me.
They didn't talk to you.
No way. It was just there.
Also,
And
not fans of the Honest Wargamer.
Again, no tagline. I just knew it was the cool thing
Morkborg
to get.
for poser.
Yeah, it was just like 3 dudes not talking to anyone. I was like, cool, I'll just get this. Yeah. I was like, can I get
Louise
this? They're like, whatever.
love this, and I did because I've wanted that for ages and ages.
Yeah, so that was an
nailed it.
easy win.
Yeah.
But then the actual like trying to find something heartfelt. But I ended up thinking, what would Louise really like to play? I ended up getting her a solo play.
Oh my God.
RPG adventure with journaling based on Kiki's delivery service.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Which was again, that was the thing. It was
I
from
can
one of those
explain what all
smaller
of that
creators.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually like, there were so many more smaller creators I would have liked to have like spent more
I
time
cried
with.
when I opened it.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So
Oh.
it's called Kuriko, I think,
Kuriko,
something
yeah.
like Kuriko, and it's basically a solo play. If you're a girly pop, so you like things like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, stuff like that, you're gonna freaking love this. It's a solo play. Like essentially, like you're sending letters home from Kiki's delivery service, and if you've not seen Kiki's delivery service, which you haven't, it's about a which I know you haven't. It's about but you have seen RRR, so
Which
we're
we'll
going to
talk
talk
about in a
that
minute.
in a minute.
That's
Oh my
the
God.
main subject of the show.
Shut up.
Okay.
Oh my god. Yeah, so you're essentially like the witch, you're Kiki and Kiki's delivery service, and you're sending like you're just playing through your adventure as you go to a different town to essentially do your witch gap year.
Amazing.
And it's delightful. I've not played it yet, but we were talking about solo games the other week and how much I love them. I should have played it whilst I was sick. It was a perfect time, but I was too busy being like,
Ill.
so yeah. But I just love the idea of cozy night in. Like in the same way as like people like get excited to like watch a movie, I get excited to like play games by myself.
Yeah, that's which had we not been doing this show,
Yeah.
I don't think I would have made that purchase.
No,
So
because-
I'd have been like, no, people like playing games together.
I hate
Yeah,
that.
But like actually kind of inspired me and be like, actually that would be really helpful.
It's mad how much more I'm seeing these days.
Yeah.
What,
And
solo
I don't,
play?
Solo play. And I don't know if they're always there. And definitely from the...
After COVID, everyone's like, hate people.
Well, I mean, I
I've
used to
discovered
play
this.
in my bedroom on my own a lot. That sounds really dodgy.
Especially with who did you have in your cupboard? It was like Robin Hood or something?
It was Robin. It was
It
Kevin
was Robin-
Costner.
yeah.
My hero.
Just playing alone
Kevin
in your
Costner.
room with
11 out of 10.
Yeah.
Incredibly manly.
Yep, yeah, absolutely love that man.
Pinnacle of manliness.
But yeah, it's really hard sometimes to like, play Necromunda when your family don't want to play it. So
Yeah.
and that certainly from doing my videos, there's been people that have reached out and said, "Oh, this game's solo. This game is solo." I was like, "That's been around for ages. I did not know this." So it's really interesting that I'm now seeing more solo playing, and whether it's just because it's in my mind's
About to say,
eye.
it may just be that thing that when you
Yeah.
become aware of something, you see it more.
Yeah.
Because I get that a lot, and then I think I'm magical and psychic.
Yeah. But I am learning more about like your style of hobby because when we went to ComicCon, you were like pointing out all these things and stuff, and I was
Oh
like
my
becoming
God,
more aware
yes.
of stuff.
Yeah, so could you
Like
both tell me
spy.
about your adventure in
So-
Comic Con?
We'll do it quick because
Yeah,
I know
so
we want to talk about RR, which is vitally important.
Peachy,
Maybe more important than ComicCon.
it might be. So in the same way you had your first Games Expo, Peachy had his first ComicCon.
This is your first one?
First ComicCon.
How long-
43 years old.
What the fuck?
I know.
How long did it take us to get to Comic-Con, Peachy?
Took us way too fucking long.
Oh my God, we were so angry.
I picked Louise up at 8 o'clock here. Right, it should take 3 hours to get to
Not
Excel.
even that, like 2.5.
2.5, yeah,
Something
you're
like
right.
that, yeah.
And it took us 5.5.
I think 4 to 5 hours.
I think it was like 20 to 2 we got actually
Whoa.
Yeah. So
to the Bandai stand.
we got stuck in a traffic jam, which was like half an hour long, and we are like, well, this is a ball ache.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least it's, and it was like the kind of traffic jam where people were like getting out of their cars just to be kind of like weird. So after that was finished, we are like, well, at least that's over. And then it was like a traffic jam the entire way into London.
Just a series of different traffic jams being rediverted like this is
Yeah.
the fastest route. Turned out it wasn't. So there was a lot of that.
It was
And
a
then
nightmare.
my favourite comment of the day was I had a high car.
Yeah.
I like a handbrake. I like a physical thing I can lift up and hold.
It
and then
feels
know.
weird when you're like, this is an emergency. Let me gently press this button.
Yeah. So you have a stop-start button, which I prefer like a key, and a handbrake. Stop-start button, little button to flick handbrake.
Oh.
If you stall it, there's a whole little process you got to go through.
Yeah, you have to like appease the machine god.
Yeah.
In order to uninstall your fucking
Oh,
car.
And then you
Really?
get people beeping you behind you because you're not moving fast
So we were,
enough.
like, screaming.
Adds a little level of extra panic and you then start pressing the wrong buttons.
Drama.
My favourite comment of the day was, it's a beepy time to be alive.
I was like,
It's a beepy time to be alive.
so like we'd gone to like this traffic light and like the car just turned off because when you stop the car, it turns off. So Peachy was like, ah, fuck. So then he was like, oh, well, that's not working. Oh, well, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. And
It's
people were
like-
like, "Durr,
Put foot
durr."
on brake, press stop start, lift up button. It has to be in that order, otherwise it won't work.
Amazing.
So eventually we got out and I was like cry laughing and I was like, it's a beepy time to be alive.
You were quite worried then, because
I
and I understand, because there was a lot of angry people behind me because I wasn't moving.
And
That's fair.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so when we got there though, tell us
So
about
yeah,
your,
so we got there.
tell us
So
about your first time. Mm-hmm.
I've obviously been to the Excel Centre many times because Salute and other random events and stuff like that. And I never expected the entirety of Excel to be completely taken over by ComicCon. That blew my mind for a
Yeah, it's
start.
huge.
This lady knew exactly where she was going, so I just followed her like a blind child, an orphaned blind child.
A blind orphan child with no parents.
Great soldier.
In a
we
war.
thought we'd definitely go to Bandai first and talk to them because they invited us down.
They
And-
invited us down.
And oh my God, Bandai! I mean, I've played Tekken games, Namco games. I'm aware of Gundam, but
I'm
the
a big
amount of
Tamagotchi fan
stuff-
myself.
But yeah, we had a great time. We were there for a long time.
Okay,
my
so
God.
the Bandai people contact you and like come and talk to us.
Well, they
yeah.
contacted Peachy, and then it turned out like he'd also contacted me, but I'm really bad at replying to things, so I felt really bad, so I had to apologize.
So
because it
being
was really
Louise's PA at the moment, I made sure that she was connected. And
That was really nice.
And
But
got,
I had like massive imposter syndrome. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
are you
same,
sure
same.
they want to talk to me? Because, I'm so shy. But they were so
were
nice.
a big deal.
They liked you as well. They
Yeah.
were like, where's Rob? Is the first
Dan was
thing they
sad
said.
that you weren't there because
He
he's a big
was.
fan of Square Based.
Shout out to Dan.
Shout out to Dan.
Dan
Oh,
Wilkes.
yes. Well, thank you, Dan, for showing us
Yeah.
around because we were like, it was the first thing we saw and we were like massively overwhelmed because I forget how many IPs like
Yeah,
Bandai is involved in. It's huge. We met Logan Sama there
Yes,
as well,
yeah, yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
because there was like the
Oh, I
Tekken
felt
and
so
the
bad 'cause
fighting.
I've talked to him many times. He's put comments on my messages.
Yeah.
And I knew the end was Salmon, and just literally, I was like, I
Logan,
can't bring the
you
name.
did
I
that thing
can't
where you were
bring-
perfectly polite and
I felt
remembered
awful.
everyone's names, but then you're like, I'm the worst person
Yes,
in the
I was
world
the
when he
worst
walks
person
around. And I was
'cause
like, that was the most normal and in fact very polite conversation.
I felt terrible.
But yeah, so we went there and I think Dan wanted to.
Importantly, because Logan is a commentator for Street Fighter tournaments.
Oh, he's
so Street
so
Fighter
cool.
the game. He's a shoutcaster, is what an American would call it.
A what?
Commentator, shoutcaster is what Americans call it.
Shoutcaster.
What's
Yeah, that's what they
that?
Sounds
call
like a
it.
wizard.
I thought you said shark caster. I cast shark.
Very different.
That's how
Whomp,
Sharknado happened. It's just an endless spell.
Yeah,
just
that's all
going
it
around.
is. Just going around.
Casting shark on you.
Okay, don't do that. Okay,
But yeah,
I don't want to.
Bandai had so much stuff.
Yes.
I was given I call them a waifu. They're waifus.
They're waifu. Say
Yeah.
it right.
Say it right. So I've got a waifu at home now.
Your waifu's beautiful.
My
Wait,
waifu's
wait,
beautiful.
wait.
I've got this reaction of
No
like,
context
I've got
at all. He's
Wait.
got a waifu
Okay.
at home and he got it from Dan. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Can I
Dan's
explain?
also like,
No,
Don't say that. No. So
like-
the Bandai employee Dan
yeah, so
gave
Bandai-
you a waifu.
I'm so
No,
excited.
so they wanted to like talk to us about Gundams because Peachy, you did a video on it,
Yeah.
and they freaking loved it.
They did,
They were
yeah.
like, "This is
I only
it."
found out recently they loved it as well,
Okay.
which was sad.
No, they loved it, and they were like, "Louise, do you know what these are?" And I'm like, "Those are robot men," and they're like, "Get ready to get your tits blown right off," because this is a fucking Gundam. And I'm Gundam aware, but I'm not into it. Like,
Okay.
But
I'm
I think you
completely-
surprised them by your knowledge of everything else.
Wait, so you knew everything but Gundam. Okay, so what
He
was your
taking-
area of expertise
He was
at
taking
Bandai?
us around every other cabinet, and I was like doing the tour. I was like,
It
Digimon.
was like, I was amazed.
They do Digimon.
They do Digimon
Okay,
Gundam.
Dan,
It's-
hook me. I will be the Digimon influencer.
No, I want to be the Digimon.
What the no, man. Okay.
Digimon, Tamagotchi was there.
It was yeah. So also they have Tamagotchi, which is low key like my favorite thing in the world, and it gave me a Tamagotchi and a crud.
Yeah. Is it true that they gave you both a couple of Gundam, but really you wanted like the cheapest Tamagotchi on the market?
Yeah, because they were like, here's these. They gave us like a goodie bag to take away with because like I was like, I'd love to just do what you had done and be like, because I was like, I should be recording myself now because I was
I'm
having
all for
this like
that.
I managed to get some recordings of you that I need to send to you. I will.
I've got them. You've
Have
sent
you?
them.
Did I send them?
you sent
I was
them.
very ill when I did that.
You were
Okay.
efficient in the car and just sent them straight in the car. So I've used them in my video. So
Well,
thank
look
you.
at me, look at me.
Well done.
But yeah, so they were. I was like, I'm so overwhelmed. This is so cool. I really want to get into it. Like the little pen where you put it in the thing and it goes whoosh, whoosh.
You're going to have to use so many more words to explain whatever you just
They
said.
have like liner pens where
They
you
have-
touch the recess.
Oh, you mean the panel liner?
Was that not completely obvious? What I
No,
was
no.
okay.
I wonder what you're on
Whoosh.
about.
No, the little pen, the panel liner pen.
Panel liner.
So
The
panel liner for painting a Gundam.
But, right, so
But-
panel liner is normally a thinner. So
Right.
it's like an enamel-based paint, right?
Yeah, because it's alcohol, so it goes
Yeah,
whoosh, whoosh, whoosh,
but
whoosh.
for kids, they've adopted an acrylic-based version.
One of the kids got adopted. Finally.
Finally!
Yes. One
But-
less
oh,
orphan.
and thank you, Dan, because he passed on it's called a 30-minute build of a dinosaur for Charlie's build. We still need to build it, and I'm going to video him building it.
Oh my God,
but it's all
that's
push
so
out. There's no
cute.
tools required.
Okay.
You can build a dinosaur entirely, or you can do half of it so you see half of its skeleton exposed, or you can just build it as a
and
skeleton.
they're like £8 a
Yeah, they're-
kit as well.
it's
Like they're so
the
cheap.
price
So I reckon
compared to
Dan should come
Warhammer.
on.
Yeah.
Dan should come on the show.
Can
Yeah.
we get Dan on the
We
show?
should get Dan on.
I've never. So have you? So okay, let me ask some questions.
and then it will just become an RRR
One,
video.
one, one,
It will be.
In fact, we should save it for when Dan's on the show preemptively.
yeah, Dan's like, me talking about Gundam. I was like, no, have you seen RRR?
It's
That's what the
it's
entire
his
show
favorite
is.
movie. It's his favorite movie.
Hey, what, Dan?
Yes.
Shut up.
That's why we all
yeah.
started because like we got into the I call it the Bandai cupboard.
Yeah.
And then we all started talking, and somehow we started talking about RRR because it just comes up in every conversation apparently.
Yeah.
And he was like, "It's my favorite fucking movie in the world." So we need Dan on the show.
Okay, all right. That'll be the RRR
But
show.
anyway,
we'll
yeah.
touch on
So
it.
like Gundam, it's so much cheaper
Okay,
than
so
Warhammer.
so it's cheaper. So you've built some Peach.
Yep.
Tell
think
me
some of it is.
like what are the highlights, lowlights of?
So the thing I find fascinating about it is you open the box, right? There is a lot of different coloured sprues, right? It's quite overwhelming when you first open the box. There's like multitudes of sprues, all labelled like L1, L2. When I first opened the box, I was like, this is insane. There's a lot here. You open the instruction book, and it is just so efficiently written, easy to follow. Before you know it,
Whoa, Pete! Whoa! You're telling me that part one in the instructions, doesn't say A39, yeah, and then it's just on a sprue where all the numbers are completely random. You're telling me it's not like that?
There is a little bit of that, but not a lot. It is.
Okay.
You build a little sprue stand, comes inside the box. It's a cardboard stand that you line your sprues
sprue
up.
stand. They give you organizers.
Yeah, so you get an organizer. So when you do a certain build, like let's say the exoskeleton, you start with the exoskeleton, which
Yeah.
is hugely detailed, by the way.
Okay.
Hugely detailed. You can leave the model at the
Yeah,
exoskeleton.
like the inside of the miniature is like just like whilst you're building up, you build like the entire mech, and it's so detailed on it. It's crazy.
Okay.
So you build. Let's say you follow the instructions. It gives you an idea of what sprues you need. You put them in your sprue organizer. You organize them in like what kind of color or whatever. But most of the time, it's just like this is the order in which I'm doing it. Go through, build it. Before you know it, you've done with all you need to do. There's some bits left here and there which we'll come to later, but you just go through all the build. It's really efficient. Every time when I was building it, I was like, oh my God, this is rubbish. I can't believe, I just need to turn the page over and it made so much more sense. I'm an idiot.
Okay.
So the Japanese engineering is efficient. It's well done. Everything comes out really nice.
The technology as well.
The technology. So they've
Like-
got a technology. I'm sorry.
No, I think we're going to say the exact same thing.
that there is on the build I did, there is a hand that
I was going to say what you were going to say.
It's all in weird positions, right? It's two different types of plastic, some that are thin and malleable and some that are hard.
And
what
colours as well.
And colours, yeah.
Yeah.
But you just position, it shows you in the actual, and it's really easy to follow. It shows you how you reposition this weird shaped sprue into a hand that then becomes articulated.
Whoa.
Straight off the sprue.
Yeah.
No way.
An articulated hand.
And they're like
off the sprue.
they're like doing different colors on one sprue and stuff like that.
Up to like
the
4 or 5 different
technology.
colours on the sprue.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah.
Some of it's clear plastic, some of it's red plastic, some of it's
have
So
metallic.
box
Louise has got
here.
a box.
So I was.
Who have you got there? Who's your guy?
I've got Guyan Strom, Agnes Guy Burnrath custom.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know anything about it, but it's really cool.
I mean, I don't. And when I did the video, I got really into watching some Gundam stuff. So there's a lot of different timelines, a lot of
Can't
different
wait
stories.
to do the deep dive.
And I think just the way that the kits are done, and this is not to like put anything against Games Workshop kits,
no, we
because
love G-dubs.
their engineering is next level, and I think there's a lot of stuff that Workshop could learn from Bandai, but also is probably not practical for the level of what you do. But they are super articulated.
Yeah.
They come coloured, and this is the other thing. After you built your exoskeleton, you then completely coat it in armour.
Yeah.
And I was a bit like, why have I spent ages building this exoskeleton? Because I'm still used to the workshop mentality to then hide it all. But then I'm like, I can like take the panels off and have exposed circuitry and this, that, and the other.
That's a great question. Like, how would you both feel about like posable miniatures in Warhammer?
I love the idea. I think
yeah.
if they started making like sort of artist series Gundam-esque kits, but for Space Marines, where you build. I've always said, even before I was like aware of Gundam and what they did, I was like, if they released a Space Marine toy or a Space Marine kit where you build up the Space Marine like piece by piece and stuff, that would it's just such a good way to engage people in the IP as opposed to just like, here's the outside. You get a bit more of an understanding for it and more like options. I think that'd be
I
super
would
cool.
want Joy Toy, but smaller and more affordable.
Interesting. I got a thought about that, but I'd like to come back to that.
cool.
Louise, I know that you said you came back and you were hype. What were your thoughts and feelings when you'd seen it all?
I was over. So we spend loads of time at Bandai. Do you mean like the whole event or just Bandai?
Just by now, to start with.
Overwhelmed. Like I instantly, like you could tell right now, this is speechless. Like I think part of it is like I really want to get into it. I've started like I did a post being like, hey, what if I got into Gundam? What do you? And I asked people like, what are some accounts I can follow? Who are some
Smart,
like
yeah.
I'll pass them on to you. They're so good. So like, and just people were so supportive. And I think it's huge. I think Gundam's like massive. And also all these Gundam influencers are essentially just calling me poor. Like, have you seen them?
No.
Have you seen like Gundam, like the fancy Gundam people? They have like the nicest setups and they have like the nicest tools. Like I follow this guy.
God Hand.
Yeah, God Hand the clippers, which are like they have them downstairs. I got to try them.
Imagine
and I
two
was like,
katanas
What?
in clipper form.
What is happening? What do you mean?
So Gundam people are like Warhammer people, but fucking fancy. So like,
What are you saying?
yeah. But like, so get this. So I was like following this guy, and he has like this Gundam tool, and it looks like a sexy harmonica with like, and it's like plastic, and it's got like a printed thing and curved edges and metal things. And I was like, oh my fucking God, what's that? What's that? It's a fucking like nail file.
What?
Right? Yeah, and it's like, and he takes it off like his wall, which is like gunmetal black, and he's
Or
like,
has he got a shadow board? Like
shadow board. That's what it's called. And he's like, and then I'm like, what the fuck does this do? What does this
I'm
sexy
so
little
jealous.
harm-
What is
yeah,
this?
Yeah, and then he's just like filing down a mold line, and I'm like,
so
holy shit,
Okay,
we've
so
been
I
using
like-
our
I like-
mother's nail clippers for that for
so
like
the-
15 years. We are grognards.
I'd like you to know that I know a guy called Graham who builds and paints all of his Warhammers on a little tray that he like has on his lap in bed
Yeah,
late at
this is
night.
what I mean. I
and
think-
he is, in my opinion, the peak hobbyist.
I think, like Warhammer people, I feel it's a bit more, and I don't know if it's because it's like British and we have that kind of like, I don't know, something a little bit more like down to earth and a bit more like, homemade and stuff, but we use like pretty like it feels almost like grim dark technology where we use like our mum's nail files to file down a miniature, and we're like, this is good.
I feel that it's so. I'm going to go off a bit of a tangent.
I
But
went
British
off a bit of a
engineering is
tangent,
very
we're fine.
practical. British engineering has always been very practical. So there's a reason why Rolls-Royce has like most, a third or a quarter of the jet engines in the world of Rolls-Royce.
Yeah.
Because they're reliable,
Yeah.
they're well made, they're super practical. But the Japanese level of like
fancy.
engineering is next level and efficient, intuitive. So I mean,
Aesthetic.
I've only ever ridden now Japanese motorcycles because I
yeah,
know
you're-
I can get the parts easily. They're all very interchangeable and they're all very well designed. And usually, if something goes wrong, it's usually quite an easy fix. At least that's what I've been told by many people that get Japanese
What's
motorcycles.
the brand? It begins with a K.
Kawasaki.
Kawasaki.
I
I think that's one of the interesting things, because really, if we actually strip it all back, Games Workshop is not anything other than a manufacturing company.
Yeah.
Like, they pretend to be something else, but they are a manufacturing company and a distribution company, and that's really where most of their money comes from, which is obviously the sales of the things that they manufacture.
Yeah,
And I think it's interesting, with especially with Gundam, although having never built any myself, interested to like have a look and try.
So excited.
Is that you've got another manufacturer in the market.
Yeah.
And obviously if they're at Bandai and they're talking to you guys, they clearly want to like have a bit of a foothold in the market, right?
Yeah,
That's quite
absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's a big sort of it's a big thing for me, certainly for my little channel, and like learning like all this kind of stuff. But the video we did previously on the painting phase was okay.
Oh, was it on the painting phase?
It was on the painting
you did
phase.
it?
Yeah,
'Cause
it
I was looking for it the other day on your channel.
I never knew that Bandai reached out to say they really enjoyed the
Oh.
video. It was all very, I just never found out about it until like Waylon grabbed me and said, "Oh, can I put you in contact with Dan because he wants to do some more videos because I really like your video." I was like, "Oh, cool."
I just
mega."
missed
that's a shame you
DM.
didn't get that message.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, so what?
Stuff
That
happens.
But it's all come, karma.
Yeah, it's
always
all
comes-
it's all
If you're good, it
turn
comes
it
back
up,
to you.
Millhouse.
But yeah, so I did that, and it didn't do very well as views go. And I'm not sure if it was like the pitch of it or whatever. But
or if it's just like the Warhammer audience.
maybe, yeah. I mean, we were doing more chats than painting videos anyway. Whereas now I'm very much more focused on hobby, and
You look like you're
I've
enjoying
got a
yourself
kit bash
now.
idea for because I'm going to get my waifu.
Oh yeah, we never
Okay.
explained
Yeah,
the waifu.
please explain the waifu.
There's like one of the little things they had, and I nearly went home with a waifu as well. Rob, I'm very sorry because
Okay.
I love that shit.
So I don't know much about waifus, but all I know
I
is
know
it just looks cool.
Arguably too much about waifus.
Okay, well you can go into waifu
So
lore.
it was like a Gundam kind of like kit, but you can build your own cute little like magical girl, but in mech.
Okay, so just because, as a man in the hobby,
Get the cup. Get the cup.
because it is hard to be a man in the hobby, I'm not necessarily certain I understand Magical Girl.
Okay.
If you could take me
Maho
through it.
Shoujo.
Could you explain Magical Girl a bit, just for some people who might not be aware?
Magical Girl is my favorite genre of anime, and it usually involves a girl finding a magical talisman which grants her magical fighting powers, which she uses to defeat monsters.
Okay, good.
Very popular examples of magical girls are things like the Sailor Moon franchise.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I've heard of
He-Man,
Sailor-
right?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And
And
He-Man.
He-Man is
And He-Man.
technically a magical
Yeah,
girl as well
yeah.
because he has that. And the transformation thing is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big part of magical girl
Got you.
stuff. So
Does that count with Yu-Gi-Oh where he turns his cap round?
kind of no. Is Yu-Gi-Oh a magical girl? Maybe no.
Title of the video.
In this case, it looks like it's just like cute little anime girls in mech suits, and that is very, very cool. And
Yeah.
Peachy got one, and
Yeah.
I nearly got
Very
one
cool
too.
is a
There was-
strong,
there was-
is a strong,
Shut up.
There's
strong
some scantily clad ones, but what
Okay.
I was looking at, one, I like the build, I like articulated figures.
Are they girls or robots?
Girls,
I imagine,
in
in armor.
robot suits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine a girl inside a robot.
Okay.
There you go.
Interesting.
Interesting.
But my long and short of it is
Yeah.
they've got like these 30-minute nights, and then they had these waifu, and I was looking at them and going, I can kit bash these two together. I can find a way of like making a badass female Valkyrie knight.
Because they're about the same like scale.
And I think fittings wise, from what Dan was saying, there's lots of interchangeable.
Cross-compatible, yeah.
Cross-compatible is a better word.
Interesting.
So we might make some like mecha waifus, but also
Mecha waifus,
but also paint them to be like the Argent Rose or
yes,
something.
I definitely want to go down the route.
So just to bring my field of expertise into this a tad.
What is your field of expertise? Because mine is waifus and magical girls. What are you bringing to the table, Rob?
Jesus, orphans and tea.
What's yours?
I'm going to bring this weaponized boredom.
Peachy's orphans and titties.
I just want to ask, like, can you play games with them?
No.
No. And
I don't mind that at all.
Okay.
But for you, Peachy, that might be something that you'd be interested in seeing.
So I've looked at doing like using kill team rules for things like the Joy Toy figures, but that's super expensive if you want to get like a small
Joy Toys, like the paint jobs are great, but they are spenny.
Yeah. So this is the thing about Gundam Gunpla, which I'll come to in a minute as well. Gunpla. Is they come pre-painted, well, as in like it's coloured plastic. You don't have to do it.
Paint them.
You can then weather them up. So this is something I've seen, like, and I've got some ideas on things I want to do.
This blew my mind. You go, but yeah.
So I mean, you get like a weathering pencil. So I've seen like some videos where they're like just going on the edges and like making it look a little bit scratched and scuffed. So you could just add a little bit of extra detail, or then you can add more colour to it and actually go into the depths
or you could just like spray it and paint it like a miniature.
Repaint it entirely if you want.
Yeah.
So, and what I'm looking at doing is maybe doing a kit bash of the waifu with a knight, because there's a nice purpley black one. She's got purple and black.
Waifu.
Mix those two together, but then maybe do one that looks a bit more like an Argent Shroud or something
Call
like that.
Call it 30-minute waifu night.
30-minute waifu night.
I'll get views.
I'm sure you know more about this than I do.
I know so many things. Thank you. It's what blew my mind is that like, because I was like, because when you see them finished, they look amazing. And I'm like, oh my God, these guys must be like amazing painters. They're and they are, but like, it's weird, like the level that I've been dropped into in Warhammer and the level that Gundam people do. Because I was like, so I went on like Gundam TikTok and stuff, and they just have these like weathering pencils that I used to use for doll repainting.
Yes,
all they are watercolor pencils.
Yeah,
I'm fairly sure that's all they are.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different.
They feel a bit oily.
Yeah, I think they're watercolor pencils. I might be wrong, but it looks very similar to the kind of stuff I would do when I did doll repainting. And they're just like bumping it on the edges of plastic, and they're like done.
Yeah.
Like raw plastic, they just get a watercolor pencil and they just kind of like, in the same way as you do stippling when you're doing weathering on a miniature. Yeah. And they're
amazing.
like, we are done. And it looks amazing.
Not to like bring this as like into an anti-Games Workshop thing, but you can really feel the pervasiveness of the Games Workshop culture and also ecosystem, I think, in the miniature space.
You used two big words there.
Yeah, sorry. Like, you can feel the influence of Games Workshop across generations of hobbyists.
Yeah.
Like, you see that from games when people are like, someone's beardy and like, you couldn't try and win a game, from the time when they made terrible games. And so you're like, don't try and make it work because it's shit and like, we want you to buy it. Yeah. Like, that's from that generation.
Yeah, if you're going to use the rules, then that's bad because don't look at them.
Yeah, because we made them in like 8 minutes while we were high. So like
30-minute night.
Yeah. But like, maybe this is also true. Like, do you two feel, especially as hobbyists, that this is also true for like painting and hobby?
I think it's going to be really hard for me to unlearn Warhammer and do whatever, or it might be really easy. So I don't know which. I'm excited to find out.
I've got some videos I'm planning where I'm using toys and repainting them, but in some places I'm just using like streaking grime over it and washes.
Okay.
And I recently got for a $5 from like a bargain shop was one of the new Buzz Lightyear Zerg ships.
Oh yes, this is a big thing that a lot of people in Necromunda are doing apparently.
Yeah, people are loving it.
They're a $5, right? I've literally sprayed one to look like a Sky Ranger from XCOM.
Yeah, nice.
I've printed out some XCOM badges. Liz printed some out for me. Cut them, stuck them on. Just looks like a badge on the wings. Sprayed it white. Sprayed it yellow.
Great.
Scales really well, and for like my sci-fi stuff, which is 28mm, a lot of the little Buzz Lightyear ships are the same scale. So, you can use toys and stuff, and which is obviously something I'm going to delve into more.
We had an idea on the way back.
This idea. Do we mention it?
Save it.
We'll tell Rob after.
Yeah, we'll tell you after.
Which also brings me to the fact that we're getting up towards needing to lock it off so we can make some Patreon videos.
Yes. One thing I want to quickly say. So if you don't know what God Hand is, by the way, because I mentioned this earlier. So they're just really sharp clippers that when you clip into a sprue, it leaves no bumps.
Like it's just like
it's just
perfect.
smooth. It's just smooth.
I think they have them downstairs, and they were like, try it out, and I was like, it's like butter.
Whoa.
It's amazing.
God hand.
They're so fancy.
There was so much to see at Comic-Con. I loved it. But the
Comic-Con.
sweetest thing I saw, Rob, and you'll love this,
Okay.
right, is we're walking around and there's this cute little stand with some boxes. It looked very much like Rogue Hobbies.
Oh, nice.
And this lady started having a nice chat with the lady that was running the stand because you were explaining about how you were getting started up. And it was the sweetest thing to watch, as these two people swapping their phones.
I showed you their thing. They had like those
so
little
cute.
bespoke miniatures, and I was like, this is the closest thing that I can think to like what I do at Comic-Con. So I went over there and we made friends, and we swapped phones so we could like add each other.
Oh,
on Instagram.
adorable.
It was so
And
cute.
her profile is amazing. She's like the best 3D sculptor I've ever seen on the internet. Sorry, Tom, but she's so talented. But yeah, it's a nice vibe. I think at Comic-Con, and we saw lots of the cosplayers. What did you think about all the cosplayers?
It was really good. There was so much like really good stuff. Some weird ones. There's a guy just had like a shark on his face. I thought it was Victor Crumb from Harry Potter. And then you explained it might be something.
I think it was Demon Slayer.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like telling Peachy what a Hatsune Miku was.
Was this very much like Louise, like learning about Gundam, but knowing lots of other parts?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, did Comic-Con open up a bit of a world for you?
God, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm aware of like cosplay. I'm big Star Wars fan and like Lord of the Rings fan, but just there was so much else to see and just get excited about. So,
you saw the Star Wars cosplayers? They were great.
They were great. There was a guy who got really upset because I didn't take a photo with him because he was in Stormtrooper armor. I thought it was my mate Jack.
Yeah.
It was a guy called Jim. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Friend of the channel. He was just like, you're not going to get a photo with me? I was like, I'm sorry. I can't. You're a Stormtrooper.
I don't know who you are. I cannot
Apparently,
perceive
he
you.
did some axe throwing later on that day and got them all on target, which is rare for a Stormtrooper.
Rare.
So, good job, Jim.
Oh, Jim, that is cosplaying wrong.
I had a great. I think we should all go to Comic-Con next time.
Yes.
Together. Because
And I'll drive better.
and I might make a sister battle cosplay one day. It's all I want to do.
I'll make a Sister Battle cosplay.
We can both cosplay.
We can both cosplay Sisters Battle.
Oh my God,
I'll go as Argent
Rob.
Shroud.
A Mister of Battle. That's what you'd be.
I'm going to have
Peach.
Jugs.
You're
Can
nice.
you be the penitent engine?
I would never do that.
Why won't you be our penitent engine?
What about an arco-flagellant?
How about I be the cameraman? So it sounds like you both need one, so I'll do that.
Cameraman.
Maybe.
Well, it's been lovely catching up, and I hope everyone's enjoyed this episode of Jugs.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good. Love
Jugs,
that.
Rings, Waifus, and Orphans.
Yes.
Orphans,
the title was just going to be
waifus.
Orphans and Gunpla. It's an easy title. That's
My
like,
waifu's an orphan question mark. I like
and
it.
it's glad to be back in the studio.
Yes.
And I'm glad that everything seems to be going well for both of you.
I'm not ill anymore. Yay.
Yay. All right. Well, shout out to all the Jugs heads. Thanks.
I've got a shout out to
Oh,
someone.
yeah, do you
quick
shout
shout
out?
out to Dice Chatter, who I've recently been introduced to.
Nice.
Because we do a little shout out, don't
Yeah,
we?
we do.
That go watch his stuff because it's great. So he does a lot of solo bat reports of Frostgrave.
Okay.
Cool.
Really nicely done. Great voiceovers and stuff like that. Needs more views because it's amazing content.
All right, lovely.
So
Okay, my shout
to
out is
Dice
going to be Dan because he
Dan.
might have gotten me into another hobby and we'd like him to come on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, we go.
about
My
you?
shout out is to Tom because he's right now grinding through,
Tom.
designing a ton of tokens, and
Amazing.
they're looking great.
Oh, they
and-
are.
I
They
said,
look amazing.
What a project as well to do for each faction. That is
They look
insane.
incredible as well.
Yeah, they look super good. So I'm really enjoying that.
Thank
so
you,
shout out to
Tom.
him. And thank you to everyone who loves Jugs. I'm sorry that we've been gone.
I love Jugs. I
And
love
thank you
it.
to everyone on the Jugs Patreon.
Thank you, Jugs Patreon.
Yeah.
We will see you if you hop
Soon.
over now for your Patreon exclusive video.
Probably going to talk about RR, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's. Actually, that would be a great thing to do. Okay, bye.